Come inside this audio wonderland of mine and welcome to the Chronicles from the Upper Deck podcast. I am your host, Derrick Out. It is great to be here with you for chapter number 47 on the Chronicles from the Upper Deck podcast. My guest today is Matt Mercurio, who's a former San Jose State kicker for the football team and also a former kicker for Villanova football. And he's a Salinas native. When I started this podcast a few years ago, I just wanted him on the show. He was one of like my top, I think like 5 or 10 guests that I wanted on. So it's great to finally do it and bring you that interview. As we are close to April, can you believe that? It's life goes by fast when you're working hard and having fun. Um, what I've been up to lately is just our tournament season has kicked off in full gear for the NCAA. So if you want to sign up for events, go to our my employer's page, ncj.org, to learn more. Covered my first LPGA Tour event a few weeks ago at Sharon Heights at the Fortinet Founders Cup. Special shout out goes out to all the staff at Sharon Heights for being super friendly. If you've never heard of that golf club, it is in Menlo Park, just off of I-280 if you live in the Bay Area. Very intimate setting, and the fans showed up. So shout out to everybody that showed up, man. It's great to see everyone watches women's sports. And Hyo-Joo Kim won, and she just won this past weekend at the Four Championships. So shout out to Hyo-Joo Kim going back to back and taking down Nelly Korda too, which is no easy feat. So kudos to her for going back to back, and now she's number 3 in the world, and she's going to be a force to be reckoned with on the LPGA Tour. Something that really warmed my heart was also Gary Woodland getting his first win since the 2019 U.S. Open. For those of you that don't follow golf, Gary recently revealed that he has struggled with PTSD over the past couple of years since he had brain surgery. He had a lesion on his brain that they removed. And just for him to be open up, and I know he's said this to media, but he just felt like a huge weight was lifted off his shoulders. And he played the tournament of his life, setting the 72-hole scored record at the Houston Open. So kudos to you, Gary, for being a great champion on and off the golf course and a true mental health warrior. Keep fighting the good fight and, continue to inspire others, man. You've inspired me. You're inspiring millions of people that may be golf fans or may not be golf fans. I mean, your story is inspirational. And then I went to the Elite Eight in San Jose. That was a lot of fun. I got to see the Arizona Wildcats take on Purdue Boilermakers. And the fans brought the energy. It may have only been like 14,000 at the SAP Center in San Jose, but the fans truly brought the energy. Shout out to Arizona for going to their first Final Four in 25 years. I think it was like 4 or 5 years old. So first time since 2001. Our Final Four teams are set on the men's side. We got Arizona, Michigan, UConn, who capped off a 19-point comeback with the game-winning shot, go-ahead game-winning shot with like .2 or 3 seconds left against Duke. Got a feel for the Blue Devils, who were basically national championship favorites heading into it, and were basically a basic inbound pass away from going to Indianapolis. And also shout out to Illinois as well, advancing to their first Final Four in 21 years. So it should be a great Final Four in Indianapolis. I think UConn, they're going to have the target on their back, considering they're trying to go for their third national championship in 4 years. It's going to be special. You got two Big Ten teams. You got a Big 12 team in Arizona, who's been really just one of the best overall top 3 teams in the country. And then UConn, who always seems to find the right gear later in the year. And it's going to be an electric atmosphere at Lucas Oil Stadium. But before we go into our interview with Matt, obviously we've heard the big news of the day, or not the day, but the big news of this past weekend was the tragic situation out of Jupiter, Florida, with one Tiger Woods. For those of you that don't know, Tiger was involved in a 2-car crash over the weekend, and he was arrested on suspected DUI on Friday. Police said that his vehicle clipped the back of a trailer, which caused his SUV, which was like a Range Rover, to flip on its side. Woods was not hurt, nor the driver of the truck pulling the trailer were injured. Woods was trying to pass him up illegally. The truck tried to pull off to the side to let him pass. and it just got clipped. And details that local news outlets down there in Jupiter said that Woods blew a zero point 0 on the breathalyzer test, but investigators on the scene said that Woods showed signs of impairment. And he explained to him, I know the sheriff down there explained that Woods was, you know, explained, hey, I have all these surgeries, so, you know, I've had multiple surgeries, so I might be on, painkillers and stuff like that. So deputies arrested him on suspicion of misdemeanor DUI with property damage and refusal to submit a lawful urine test. Um, but yeah, it's sad to see Tiger involved in another incident, another controversy, because he's one of the greatest athletes of the century. He's one of the greatest golfers of all time, greatest golfer of our generation. And I know he was trying to, you know, make another comeback. He just played in his in TGL in the final with his club Jupiter Lynx earlier that week, and for this to happen on a Friday, when usually Fridays are slow news days, it's sad, man. Um, the questions we all have is like, A, Tiger's worth what, 1 million, over $1 billion, at least from endorsements and just, the amount of money he's won worldwide for the game of golf. Why is he behind the wheel? Why is he behind the wheel in an alleged impaired state? Um, why does he continue to put himself in these positions? You know what I mean? Because we've seen this in what, 2017 when he, got pulled over, got arrested for DUI. 2021, he almost died. He flipped his vehicle in the Los Angeles area, going what, like 80 in a 40-mile-per-hour speed zone. Um, and I think it's really just disappointing. Um, and obviously he's involved in so many things. Has had so many things with TGL, trying to reform the PGA Tour, potential Ryder Cup captaincy. He just turned 50, might go play more on the Champions Tour. So for this to happen, it's just sad. It's disappointing. It's frustrating. Um, we're fortunate enough that nobody was hurt, nobody died, because, like I said, that could have ended 50,000 times worse than it did. Um, yeah, it's sad. It's sad. It's disappointing. And Tiger, values his privacy. We get that, but somebody within his inner circle has to say, "Hey, you need to get help." I just feel like there's nobody in his inner circle that's willing to say that to him. There's nobody in his inner circle says, "Hey, Tiger, I could drive you." And we've heard the stories from multiple, journalists, from golf historians, from his fellow peers that Tiger's not really, is very frugal, very cheap, allegedly. And I just feel like a lot of his pain, obviously from the multiple surgeries that he's had over what, the past 15 years, 20 years. Um, it's very sad to see that. And it's disappointing and it's just dumb. It's a bad mistake. Um, and he hasn't, publicly said anything, nor his agent. Mark Steinberg hasn't really said anything, but I would hope to hear some transparency, and I would hope to hear maybe an apology. I don't know if we're going to get that. Why was he behind the wheel when clearly, you know, if you have an inner circle, at least one of the guys on your payroll should be able to help you out and drive. So yeah, it's just it's bad. It's disappointing. It's frustrating. Um, People are like, "Oh, the PGA Tour needs to take disciplinary action," and I don't think they will. I just don't see that happening. Just take a step back. I would hope so. Just to get the help get the help that he needs. Um, but yeah, it's sad. It's disappointing. Um, Tiger will most likely have his arraignment within the next few weeks. Um, of course, we'll see if he even plays the Masters. For me personally, I would just not want to embarrass myself and make this a media storm around that event. So I would not be surprised to not see him play now. But yeah, it's just disappointing. And like I said, just I hope he does not. I hope, the people that are in his circle stop enabling him. It's okay to be honest with him. If you love him that much, then you can help him. You know what I mean? And I get it. Some people don't want that help. But for this man to put himself in this position again where he's crashing vehicles left and right for what this is the fourth time that he's done this and or not the fourth, yeah, fourth time going back to the first scandal in 2009. Yeah, and I get it. Tiger's basically has rods and knee, back, uh, you know, ACL repair surgery. So he's basically been playing and living in pain and managing it for the past 15, close to 20 years. Does he need to play golf again? Absolutely not. He can ride off in the sunset. Yeah, we already know what his legacy is, greatest golfer of our generation. But you know, if you're gonna get help, please do it for your kids because your kids need, you know, their dad. They don't need Tiger Woods the golfer. They need Tiger Woods the human being. They need Eldrick Woods the human being. So I just hope that this is a wake up call for him. I hope that he just gets the support and love that he needs from his family or like I said, his circle. But yeah, it's a sad situation and disappointing. And it's embarrassing. It's an embarrassment to our sport. It's an embarrassment to him, which I'm sure he's feeling right now. And like I said, I just hope that he just takes a step back from everything, kind of looks himself in the mirror, and just straight up says, "Hey, maybe I need to just take a back seat, go get the help I need, go recover, and be back when I feel like I need to be in the public spotlight." All right, coming up next, we have our interview with Matt Mercurio. You're listening and watching the Chronicles from the Upper Deck podcast. All right, friends, welcome to the Chronicles from the Upper Deck podcast, or I should say, welcome back to the Chronicles from the Upper Deck podcast. Let's see, what chapter are we on? I think we're on 47. Yeah, amazing. I know. I can't remember any of the episode numbers, but this one's big. Obviously, when I started this venture about 2 years ago, or yeah, we're going on 3.5 years. Well, I wanted this guy on because of just the road that he took to becoming a successful college football kicker and also his post football career. We had some mutual friends, so covered him during our times at the great. I would say he went to two universities, my friends. So I'm going to say one of the greatest institutions known to mankind, the San Jose State University. And he's from our hometown, so it's great to have him. Ladies and gentlemen, he was part of the 2020 Mountain West football champion San Jose State Spartans. He also had a successful career for a couple years at Villanova, at Wildcats. No, not basketball. Yes, Villanova has a football team. And he was also a member, I believe, of the Monterey Bay League football champions. I hate to say it because I'm a Sunnyside Cowboy, the Palma Chieftains. Okay, a little more enthusiasm. Ladies and gentlemen, from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, known for their cheesesteaks, known for Rocky Balboa, known for all the sports teams that I don't like, but it's okay. But he's from Salinas, California. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Mercurio. Hey.
That was a great intro. I definitely couldn't have done any better. That was fantastic.
That was all made up. That was all in my brain. I just had to jerkitate it to the screen. But Matt, thanks you for doing this, man. I know your busy schedule, so I appreciate you taking the time out of your day, man. And it's gonna be fun.
No, I'm super happy to be here. I mean, this is the easiest thing in the world for me to do. I get to talk about myself for a few minutes, so I'm super happy to do it.
All right, Matt. So, as you know, we start our show with five icebreaker questions,
Okay.
and these you have not seen before. A couple of them are, general questions about your new adopted hometown. So, you ready?
Yes.
All right. Number one, cheesesteak or burrito?
Oh, burrito, 100%. And one of the biggest things I miss about California is the Mexican food here is severely lacking. And don't get me wrong, like there's still like really good spots, really good restaurants that you can go and get authentic, just delicious Mexican food. But I think that's where we're spoiled growing up where we did is
Mm,
that's best of the best. It really is the best of the best. And you can go anywhere. You can go to a, physical like brick and mortar restaurant. You can go to a taco truck on the side of the highway. Like you're getting 10 out of 10 authentic Mexican food from all the different regions too. Like it's not just one region. It's everything and anything that you can think of. Like they have it from, just regular tacos to like a birria ramen bowl. It's fantastic, out of this world. So burrito, just every single time I'm picking burrito over a cheesesteak. I think cheesesteaks are a little overrated personally, but you can find some good ones. You can find some good ones.
Now, there's Pat and there's Geno's. So, which one
Hmm.
do you like?
I personally haven't been to any of those spots. Those are
Okay,
like, from my understanding as a transplant here, those are like the tourist traps, like
yeah,
it's like kind of like the same as like going to San Francisco and getting clam chowder. Like
yeah,
there's like
yeah,
the tourist traps on like the pier where it's like you don't want to go there. Like that's not where you
yeah,
get like the real authentic stuff.
yeah.
Um, where do I go? Delisandro's is really, really good. You can get a really good cheesesteak there. And then there's one more, Angelo's. Angelo's cheesesteaks, phenomenal,
Okay.
phenomenal. And the pizza's even better.
I bet, yeah. They got some underrated Italian food, like excluding New York, but Boston has very
Yeah,
good Italian food. I think I had a cheesesteak like at one of the nearby markets, so I didn't get a chance to go to the Pat's and Geno's. They didn't trap me over there. All right,
yeah.
favorite Philadelphia landmark?
Favorite Philadelphia landmark. I'm a history guy, so I gotta go Independence Hall, Liberty Bell. Especially now that we're coming up on 250th anniversary of the great United States.
Yeah.
It's gonna be wild here. I know the city and the state have a bunch of events planned for the 250th. And Governor Shapiro, I don't know if you saw this, just passed a law that's extending bar hours in Philadelphia from 2 a.m. and they're extending it to 4 a.m. So for like a period of 60 days, because of the 250th anniversary and the World Cup, bars will be open till 4 a.m. So I'm getting a little bit on the older side, but you can probably imagine I will partake in a few of those nights.
I just had an ultrasound done in my liver before this, and I don't know if my liver can handle all that drinking, man. Let's see. So I've been to Philly twice, both middle school. My sister we had a Washington D.C. middle school trip, like club at Washington Middle School,
Nice.
and I went with my sister and my parents did one time, and then I went like with when I was in eighth grade. Underrated, I would say, like because I think people just get lost in like you know Liberty Bell, Independence Hall, but the Constitution
Right.
Center, which is like down like the walkway right there, very very
Yes.
cool because you see like all the founding fathers, if you will, kind of in
Mhm.
bronze sculpture. If you guys haven't been there, check it out. So it's pretty cool, and it's gonna be packed. I mean, you guys got the World Cup.
Yeah.
And I know if I think we've done the math. So if the U.S. I think has to go to the round of 16, and then England has to win, and then it would be U.S. versus England, 4th of July for a spot in the quarterfinals and
Which would be
Philadelphia.
unreal, right? Yeah. I mean, that's just like a storybook outcome right there.
Yeah, Fox, Fox and FIFA are gonna rig it. Come on, we come, sports aren't rigged, right? All right, best concert you've been to?
Best concert I've been to. Ooh. Let's see. I moved to the city. I moved to Philadelphia in August of 2024. And like I had still had all my friends from Villanova, but a lot of those guys, they're from like the local area. But after college, as you can imagine, they went off and did their own thing, like I did. Went away from home, get jobs and stuff like that. So after that, I decided like, oh, I'm going to stay here. Like I really like Philadelphia, so I moved to Philadelphia in August of 2024, and then because I was still like in the process, like okay, making new friends, finding new friend groups, stuff like that. My birthday was a few months later in October, and one of my favorite country bands was playing at the Fillmore. And my friends were busy at the time, and I was like, "There's no way I'm going to miss this concert." The Red Clay Strays, they are out of this world. That was probably my favorite concert. I went by myself, made some acquaintances there, shared a few beers with them, and just listened to the music, man. It was phenomenal. And then a close second would have to be Chris Stapleton. I saw him right before I left to go to Villanova. It was kind of like my going away thing with all my friends in California. I went to Chris Stapleton, and I will proudly admit that I may have shed a tear or two. I mean, he's just got this beautiful voice, and
Yeah.
he's one of my favorites of all time. So
Yeah.
yeah, as you can tell, I'm a country guy, but I love all types of music. So
I'm that way too. I it started with rock and then it's branched out. And you'll be happy, and I know all of our country fans watching this, and Richard and Robert, our mutual
oh
friends,
yeah,
the Hernandez boys, and Francisco Revelo. Shout out to him. You'll hear from him a little bit later. Going to my first country show. Yes, doing it. We're gonna go to Miranda Lambert right here at the Sleep Sports Complex,
nice,
Rodeo weekend. No, I'm not gonna be wearing no like spurs, like I'm looking like Wyatt Earp or anything like that. So
sure,
I just want to cross it off the list. But I know, like, I gotta go to Nashville to see the real thing. So that's the time I
sure.
want to see live music in Nashville. Best concert I've been to. Okay, indoors U2 at SAP Center.
Oh,
They had a
phenomenal.
center hun screen that they started performing in. Like they performed inside the screen.
Hmm.
So that was just pretty insane. That was even before, way before, like they did their Sphere residency, which I've heard is awesome to go to the Sphere in Vegas.
Yeah.
Um, and outdoors, I would say Metallica, just because phenomenal. I've seen
Ooh.
them twice. Saw them twice last summer at Levi's, and then once right after I graduated from San Jose State too at Chase Center for their 40th anniversary. So those
I'm
are
jealous, man. I
what
would
a
kill
would
to go
be.
to Metallica.
Yeah, and Chris Stapleton's still on my list, man. I got to listen to more of his music. I just know that Tennessee whiskey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
All right. What show, movie, or website is your guiltiest pleasure?
Show, movie, or website?
Mm-hmm.
Man, you know, I think I've seen The Sopranos like 6 times, and I actually just started rewatching it again for like the seventh time because it's been a few years. That's probably my guilty pleasure. But just in general, if I had to pick between like starting a new series that I've never seen before, or seeing a new movie that I've never seen before, versus going back and watching something I've seen thousands of times, I'm gonna pick the second one. I'm gonna pick the latter. There's just like those few movies or those few TV shows that I always gravitate back towards because I know they're gonna be funny or entertaining every single time. Succession's another TV show that's just I love it. It's
Mm,
hilarious.
I heard that one's good. Sopranos, I just know the theme song and then the last scene of the show. So I need to work my
Yeah,
way
oh yeah.
backwards. Spoiler alert, we don't know what happens. So, okay, it's been like 20 years since that show ended.
Oh,
Let's
it's
see.
devastating if you've never seen it.
Yeah,
Devastating ending
yeah.
for those
I need
watching
to
that
I
have
need to
never
work
seen
my
it.
way up. Need to work my way up to season one, and then we'll go on that roller coaster. But shout out to the late great James Gandolfini as well.
The
We'll miss him
man.
today. Let's see. We're gonna keep it like in the Italian realm, but just go up the
Sure.
road, up the turnpike, Jersey Shore. I have no idea why. Um, it, I'm a night owl, so I don't do drugs, and kids don't do drugs, but it's kind of like a drug for my brain, just to kind of like unplug it and just get stupid and just watch stupid
Yeah.
for like 45 minutes to an hour. It's just great. Then the OG ones episodes, especially, are just chef's kiss.
I've never personally seen the show. It's not exactly my cup of tea. I don't really watch a
Oh,
lot of
good.
reality TV, if you really want to call it reality TV. But I have been to the Jersey Shore, and it's I gotta say, it's probably one of my favorite places in the world. It's very different from California beaches,
Right.
with the exception of maybe like the San Diego area.
Hmm.
But man, it's such a good time, and the culture is great, and there's live music all the time. You know, you can go spend the day on the beach. No, not even go home. Come right off the beach, go into a bar, and watch
Yeah.
a cover band that is just like the best band you've ever seen, and then stay at the bar the whole night, watch the band, hang
Mm,
out with your friends. It's a great place to spend any summer holiday, Memorial Day or Fourth of July. It's awesome. I mean, Springsteen is like the patron saint of the Jersey Shore.
right.
So yeah, if you're at all into any of those things, whether it's the beach, the bar, or the music, I mean, it's the place to go.
Yeah, for sure. I know. I watched the movie last year with Jeremy Allen White, did a sensational job, and then actually going to see the real dude Bruce when he comes to San Francisco. So crossing him off the list
Nice.
on few weeks at Chase Center. This one I just added in because I had a tough one with the fifth one here, but um, we live in both popular areas. I guess you'd say I'm just a stone's throw away from the Bay Area. You live in the heart right there of American Liberty in Philly. What is the most annoying thing? What bothers you as a driver? Let's just say that.
Bothers me as a driver.
Yeah,
And moving to Philadelphia, as you can imagine, being on the East Coast and in the Northeast, Mid Atlantic, we get all four seasons. Um, like the drivers here have some experience dealing with that. So now coming back home, just watching people freak out while they're driving over just like a little bit of rain is like, all right, like relax, it's fine, like everything's gonna be fine. So that's something that bothers me as a driver. I'd say on the East Coast here that they're a little more aggressive and defensive, but you get used to that pretty quick. But the one thing I don't like about here, the drivers here, is in some of the neighborhoods in the city, especially, stop signs and red lights are more of like a suggestion more than they are like mandatory. So,
right.
as a pedestrian and as a driver, I've come like this close to being hit several times. I don't know if it's just like a rite of passage or what, but like knock on wood hasn't happened yet. Hope it doesn't happen. Um, but yeah, just the driving here is it's something else. It's something else.
I don't know if you're a big Formula One fan. So if you're driving on Highway One, 680, 880, let's see, Highway One. I mean, just down the coast where I have to commute 3 times a week to Pebble from Salinas. You know how like there's two things. One, I'm just going to try to demonstrate with you. No, I'm not naked. I'm wearing shorts in here, folks. Calm down. But brake checks, you're like this right
Yeah,
here. And I'm like, dude, come on, man. And it's not like traffic. I get right. You don't want to like rear-end a car or going 2 miles an hour. It's a pretty embarrassing story. But if you're brake checking when like you could put it like I don't know, some like 5 pizzas in front of you, I would say.
yeah,
Since we're on the food theme anyway, then come on, man. Like just
right.
stop. You just get off the road, please.
Oh
Another
yeah,
one too is that, and I've been kind of a little guilty of it, but I don't do it that often. Especially in the Bay Area, you're driving left hand lane, and then right here you get a car right here that's just on your ass, like right here. And I'm like, dude, you're not Max Verstappen, you're not Michael Schumacher. Okay, just go
right.
in the next lane. Had that happen to me a few months ago, where a car near like coming from Tehama because I take like a lot of shortcuts to avoid the traffic. It's a nightmare. Not as a nightmare as driving to Philly, but car went around me. We stopped like taking the right turn on Highway 68 where the airport's at, and
Hmm.
so he car pulled out, and I ended up right behind him. So I did the mirror. I didn't flip him off. I'm like, good job, man.
Yeah,
Good job.
yeah. You won, man. It's all
And
yours.
yeah. And so I don't know how you do it. Still won't figure it out. But you know how you have the water, the windshield wipers or whatever? He
Oh
flickered it
yeah,
onto my car. And then I'm like, okay, whatever,
classic.
dude. And then he pulls in left hand lane where the jack in the box and tarpies is at. And I just drove
Yeah,
by at 60 miles an hour, looked at the road, like, peace out. So that's what annoys me,
yeah,
man. I just hate wannabe like NASCAR drivers. If you're going to go do that, just try for NASCAR. Hello, come on, man.
yeah. Exactly. I mean, you got Laguna Seca right there, so
Yeah, you got
I'm pretty sure
yeah.
you can rent a car and drive if you want. So
Come on, man. Come on. Those are our icebreaker questions. So now we're gonna get into the main questions here. How would you describe your upbringing and what sports did you play?
Oh yeah. My upbringing, so I guess just leaning into the sports topic. As you can imagine, like pretty much every other kid, like for the first few years when you're dabbling with athletics, you just kind of play everything and you figure out what you like. So I did, a lot of different sports, basketball or baseball, soccer. I did a few golf lessons for a while. Those are kind of the main ones that I can remember. Never did football as a kid, but very quickly figured out that like soccer was going to be the way to go. I played baseball. My last year of baseball as a kid was the first year of kid pitch, and I can't remember. I guess that would be like third, fourth grade. And I'll give you a quick story about that because it's funny. It's so funny. I'm a lefty. I throw lefty. I bat lefty. Golf lefty. I kick righty, but everything else is lefty. Because I was a lefty, and there's not that many of us. Right-handed pitchers, which is the majority of pitchers, I would get pegged every single game, and I would always get walked, and I never got a single hit the entire season. Um, so after that, after just getting destroyed by baseballs every game, I was like, I'm never playing this sport again. Like this is not for me. Um, and the funniest thing about it is I have three younger brothers, and they were all stud baseball players, but I didn't get that gene, which is fine because I guess it worked out for the best. But yeah, after that experience with baseball, I was like, never again, never touching the sport again. Stuck with soccer for the time being, and I was doing, Selena's SVYSL. Did
Hmm.
that for a couple of years, and then did travel soccer as well. Played for two different teams through basically throughout high school, middle school, and high school. Travel soccer was a lot of fun. Got to see a lot of California and some other places throughout the country. Went to Las Vegas and the Oregon Washington border, so like Portland area. Went down to LA in that area and played some really really high level teams. And as you're probably well aware, the level of talent just in the 831 for soccer is just it's out of this world. So
Yeah.
I was always surrounded by a lot of really, really good players, and I thought I was, decent enough at soccer to keep up with those guys. So I just stuck with soccer for as long as I could, and then junior year of high school was the first time I ever actually tried playing football. And junior year was the first time I played football and the last time I played soccer. And then senior year, I was like, I'm sticking with football. I don't care if this is the last time I ever play sports for a school. I'm just going to stick with it. And yeah, college worked out as as you know, which is why I'm here. But yeah, that's kind of just my upbringing with sports.
Nice, man. And do you have any siblings, by the way, or?
Yeah, yeah. So I have three younger brothers. I'm 27, and then that goes 26, 23, and the youngest one's turning 19 here in a few months.
Dang. Any fights in the
Yeah,
house?
nothing to call the cops over, just typical brother, sibling rivalries and a few spats here and there. That's pretty much it. Not
Yeah.
anymore. Not
Just,
anymore.
just
Yeah.
like in all families. Yeah. I mean, if you still fight, I mean, torn ACL, Achilles, yeah, we're good.
Yeah,
We're good to move
exactly.
on.
Exactly.
What is the best advice your parents ever gave you?
Oh man, it'd probably have to be just maybe not like it was something that never, I guess it was said, but it was more exemplified and done in practice than it was said. But just the idea of not quitting, sticking with something till the end, giving it your all. Those are just kind of like the characteristics and the attitudes that were always present with my parents. Just like every other family, we go through hard times, and it's like, are you gonna let these hard times define you in a bad way or in a good way? And so you can, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and get back to work, or you can kind of wallow in sorrow and feel bad for yourself. And my parents were not like that, and I'm so thankful that they weren't. So just I think I get it from both my mom and my dad. Just you know, keep on pushing at 100%, if something bad happens, that's life. That's just a part of life. So
Yeah.
the work ethic from my mom and my dad, the idea of never quitting, never giving up, and not just from my mom and my dad, from pretty much every important figure that I've had in my life growing up and
Hmm.
even now.
Hmm.
Just yeah, just hard work works.
Amen, man. And what was your position in soccer at Palma High, and what were some of your favorite memories playing there?
My main position was like left back, so
Okay.
mostly defense. Um, yeah, mostly defense. When we were just like winning by a lot, then I would like creep up in like the left wing sometimes and get some
Yeah.
attacking. But
Yeah.
yeah, mostly it was defense. My favorite memories just from soccer,
Yeah.
I'd say in high school we played. This was for my club team. We played the Earthquakes Academy, which was
Oh shoot.
that was really cool. And
Hmm.
it was on this specific team. I was not even close to being like the best player on the team. I was probably one of like the bottom tier guys. I wasn't a starter. Like I'd get subbed in when somebody needed a break or something like that, which is fine. Like
Hmm.
that's life, right?
Hmm.
Um, but I was playing. I was actually playing a little bit of. I can't remember if it was left wing or if I was playing forward. But I was the one of the opportunities I was able to actually get some attacking and get some shots on goal. And we were losing 2-0. Maybe it might have been 1-0. Maybe it was 2-0, 2-0, 1-0. We were losing, and we were getting close to like the 18-yard box for like their team, and we're attacking. And I'm on the left side. I get a ball crossed to me from across the field. I take a touch with my right foot, I control it, take a touch with my right foot back towards the goal, and then just shoot it with like just the most beautiful, perfect upper 90 shot that I've ever had in my life. I will never forget that goal. It was the best feeling ever. I felt like the man after that. I was like, oh, I scored a goal against the Earthquakes Academy. I don't even start for this team.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was probably one of my favorite memories from soccer. I think I was in high school at the time, maybe freshman or a sophomore. But yeah, man, I'll never forget that goal. And even the goalie after, like you shake hands with the team after, and he's like, "Dude, that was the craziest shot I've ever seen."
Dang, man.
Yeah.
And one of my main questions, because I know, obviously when I did that story with you again, well, covering you for the Spear in 2020,
Mhm.
I didn't get a chance to ask you this just because you guys had practice up there at Humboldt. But
Oh
how did you
yeah, good
get
times.
convinced to play football?
So I all the credit goes to Doug Saucedo. He's a teacher at Palma. Um, I had PE with him. I think it was my first. I forget it was my first 2 years or if it was freshman year and junior year. But
Yeah.
freshman year was the first time I had a PE class with him, and he was like the master of just creating all these unique, fun like PE games that you'd never think of before. And one of them involved we were like it was like indoor football, and if you could kick field goals by kicking them over like the basketball hoop, so like the width of the glass would be like the field goal. And so like as a soccer player, I was like, oh, I can do that. Like that's no problem. And like that was the first time he'd seen me kick, like, I guess, outside of soccer. And I was a freshman, and he's like, you could really do this, in the sport of football if you want to. And at the time, I was just too involved with soccer because I was playing travel soccer, and then when high school season came around, I'd do high school soccer. So it was like my full-time thing, and I kind of was of the mindset like, oh, if like you want to play football, like that's something you had to do like during the summer before you're even at Palma, or even before you even report for school as a freshman, like summer before your freshman year, you're in the weight room, you're running, you're with the guys that are also going to be going to Palma playing football. And I didn't do that because I didn't think I wanted to play football. So by that time rolled around, I was like, okay, I'm too late. I kind of missed that train, and um, that kind of persisted for the next, I guess, 2 years as well as Doug Saucedo, Mr. Saucedo, just every once in a while would come up to me like, hey, like I think you'd be a really, really good kicker. He'd had some experience with other Palma alumni who went on to play football as kickers, Matt Carasoza and Miguel Mendez.
Yeah.
Um, and so like, it just kind of was this thing that kind of sat in the back of my mind for a while until junior year rolled around and I just kind of figured out, I was like, I'm okay at soccer, but this isn't something that I'm going to be able to do for the rest of my life, at least,
Mm,
professionally or in college.
yeah.
So junior year ran around, came by, and I had the urge to try something new and just kind of have fun my last 2 years. So that's when I tried out for the football team, and as a junior played on the JV team, and that was like a historic season for me. That was one of the most fun times I ever had playing with
Yeah.
Coach Martinez and Coach Escovel and all the other coaches and the players. I think I was the oldest guy. I think I was the only junior on the team. But it was so much fun. It was like it just kind of came naturally to me, and
Mm,
the soccer style of kicking, and accompanied by Doug Saucedo's coaching, one on one with me, showing me like the correct technique, where to hit the ball, and all that stuff. They just mashed so well together that I was able to be successful and eventually turn it into what it turned into.
awesome, man. Um, and how big of an impact has the football coaches had on you and your teammates, and still to this day?
For high school or for all
High
levels?
school. High school.
I mean, it's every time I go home now and I see one of them, it's like that bond, that brotherhood never goes away. Like I come home
Right.
and when my brother was still at Palma when I was in college, so I'd come home for all the major events or during summer when he was doing summer workouts, during Christmas when they're doing their workouts. I would always make an effort to like I'll drive you to practice. I want to see the guys, see how they're doing, see the coaches. Um, Going to like his graduation mass was that 2 years ago? Yeah, 2020, 2024, 2020, 2025. Going to his graduation mass, like seeing all the coaches, dressed up in like their outfits for the mass and their suits, and yeah,
Yeah.
that bond never goes away. It's they're just kind of friends or mentors for life. So it's nice to be able to go home and see them, and it's like, yeah, nothing's changed, even though I haven't seen you in a year or 2 years. Like nothing's changed. We just pick it up right back where we left off.
Mm. Yeah, man, it's incredible too, especially for like how tight knit of a community Salinas is in general, and
Really is, yeah,
Palma too. Just having that kind of that bond for life, if you will, and regardless of any sport there. Now,
exactly. Yeah.
this one's the fun one. I always like asking this because people think, "Hey, Derek, why do you have so many Palma guys on? Aren't you Salinas High?" Oh, listen, folks. The homies are homies, sisters are sisters. Hey, it don't matter where you go to school as long as we're cool. So I did. I played this rivalry in golf. I went for over. But why is Palma Salinas High the best high school sports rivalry in the A301? And kind of describe it, if you will, to our worldwide audience that we got right here.
Yeah. Oh man, it's like I probably have a different perspective than you do, just being on the other side of the fence.
Yeah.
But man, I mean, it's one just how long that tradition has been going on, and just like the history behind it, and being such a small, close knit community that Salinas and the surrounding area is. When I was my age, I was playing football with guys whose dads and grandfathers were doing the exact same thing that we were doing. And so like it means the world to our community and to Salinas. The town shuts down, everybody's trying to get into Rabobank to watch the game. Or, back in the day, the rodeo grounds. I remember going to those games when I was a kid. They were the best. Um, it means the world. And from specifically from the Palma perspective, I think the big thing for me, and I don't know if I speak for everybody else that was a part of it, from my side of Palma, but just being the small school that we are, I think when I went to school, like my graduating class was 84, and I think if you include the middle school, the total student body was maybe 400, 450 kids. And so like
Mhm.
just being able to play against Salinas High, who's your main rival, who has, almost 10x the amount of enrollment that we do, that was just like, it meant the world. And it's, for me, it was like I was playing against guys that I grew up with also, because, not all my friends from elementary and middle school went to Palma like I did. And there's nothing
Right.
wrong with that. But it's like I know these guys, and that makes me want to beat them even that much more because I know them, and because if we lose, I'm not going to hear the end of it for a whole year until we play them again. So
I like to describe it as like it's not like Ohio State, Michigan in a way because they're so far apart, but literally both our schools are what 4 or 5 blocks from each other,
right,
and
yeah, it's a
then
walk, yeah,
it's a walk, right? And then you add in kind of everybody knows everybody, right? Even hey, my boyfriend's at Palma. Oh, my girlfriend's Selena Sai, so you have that factor in, right? You don't know who to cheer for. So I like to think it's like the best because to me, you either know somebody that went to either school. So
right,
and I think for both our schools, especially, we compete at the highest of levels in high school sports, I think, in our area. And I'm pretty sure that might have changed since we last been there. But I like to think of it as just
yeah,
a friendly rivalry, man.
yeah.
And I remember, and shout out to Mona, Richard and Robert's mom.
She's
When
the
they would,
best.
yeah, she's a legend. I can still hear her voice in the head. She's probably going to scream at this watching this on the YouTube on the smart TV. Um, but I remember I think you guys were playing. I think it might have been the year you were on JV, but she was yelling, "Yeah, oh my god!" And then I think she saw my sister because I was in marching band at the time,
Mhm.
and she saw we performed right. It's like, "Oh yeah, Derrick!" Ah. And then she's, "Oh yeah, sweet side sucks, yeah, oh my god!" So she went right back to that mode. So that's just the beauty of that rivalry. Now I'm going to talk about the Hernandez twins and also the legend Francisco Revelo. Your
Yes.
friendship with those three gentlemen.
Yeah, our friendship really formed. It was probably my sophomore year. Well, Francisco before that, because he was always a soccer guy like me, and we played on the same club teams. We played on the high school team together. So my friendship with Francisco is a little bit longer than my friendship with Robin and Richard, but still on the same level. Robin and Richard was more so, if I remember correctly, it was probably my sophomore year when like I really got to know those guys. And as you can imagine, just the small school that Palma is, even if you go in not knowing that many people like I did, you're in class with the same guys, almost every class. So you very quickly get acquainted with one another. Um, so and just being that the guys that Robin and Richard are, they're very outgoing. They were the most down to earth, nicest guys, came from the nicest family. Everybody gravitated toward them. Like everybody wanted to be friends with them. So to be able to call myself one of their friends, I felt like the luckiest guy in the world. They really were, and they still are just some of the best guys, stand up guys I can think of.
Yeah, it's bittersweet because we all grew up together, and then to see obviously our boy Robert get married last year, pretty
Yeah.
special because I remember him and his brother at First Tee. That's where I met them. Porcupine hair like this, man. You know what I'm saying? They had the spiked up hair. You couldn't tell. you could you couldn't tell which one was which until they got older. Now we know their personalities, obviously. But yeah, man, it's just special, kind of the beauty of having friendships for that long, especially.
Yeah,
That tells you how many loyal friends you have in your life.
it really does.
And after Palma, what led you walking on to San Jose State?
So Doug Saucedo, who was my teacher and coach at Palma for kicking, as I had stated before, he had uh, he had coached a lot of former Palma alum into the coaching the kicking route like I did, and one of those players, Michael Carasoza, went on to San Jose State and punted for them for a few years before I got there. And so there was a little bit of a connection that was already established between our two schools, and Doug was on a friendly level with the special teams coach at San Jose State at the time, Fred Giudici.
Hmm.
He's like a second dad to me. Honestly, both of those guys are like second fathers to me. They're the best. So when I guess it was my senior year, and you know that it was like that time of like applying to schools and figuring out where I wanted to spend my next 4 years. I was encouraged like, hey, just apply to San Jose State. Like you're going to get in academically, you're fine, but there's the opportunity to play football there if you want to. And after talking with Doug, after talking with the special teams coach there, Fred, um, the opportunity to walk on had opened up for me, and it was like I didn't even know like that was an option for me. So I was like, blown. I was blown away. I was like, "There's no way that this is going to actually work out in my favor." And so I did something called a gray shirt, which is I don't even know if it's a thing anymore for college football, just with
Yeah.
eligibility nowadays.
Right. Yeah.
Um, but for just a quick explanation of that, basically what a gray shirt is it's similar to a red shirt, but instead of like reporting to school as a freshman and practicing right away, I came into school at San Jose State taking part-time credits my first semester in the fall,
Wow.
not practicing with the team, not having any affiliation with the team. So my NCAA eligibility clock did not start. And then once springtime rolled around, then I would join the team for spring practices. And, so my sophomore year is when my clock started. So it basically just saves me a year of eligibility. And it really worked out for the best because, I mean, the San Jose State roster for special teams was already stacked, and there would probably be no way. There was no room for me on the roster, basically, and rightfully so. There was a lot of talent at San Jose State for kickers.
Yeah.
So I waited and I waited, and time was just moving very very slowly for me because I wanted very badly to just get the ball rolling, get on the team, start lifting, start practicing, and then but yeah, finally that time did roll around, and there was definitely some growing pains for me, just trying to figure out college and football and juggling the two and getting my priorities straight. And there were some growing pains, and I coasted through those just fine. I made all the right decisions as far as I could tell. And then yeah, after that, I think it was my sophomore year. I redshirted and didn't play, and then my junior year, which was 2019, was the first opportunity I had to start, and yeah, that was a cool year. That was a really cool year. I did really well. And I'm very very proud of that year.
Yeah, man, and I think I could pull up the stats here if I may. Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
we do
sure.
research. We do research here. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about your seasons. Obviously, just
Mhm.
2019, man. You show up, uh, only missed 2 extra points, 97 points. I think you were kind of top five on that. 2020, obviously, magical year. We'll go into that too. Perfect extra points and only missed 2 field goals, man. So just the hard work pays off. Now, I looked up the first game that you played. So it was August 2019. Northern Colorado was the opponent. But
Yep, I remember that one.
yeah, describe the feeling you had when obviously it's different when you guys are practicing and stuff. You put on the uniform, numbers
Mhm.
on your chest, and you're just playing and trying to get better every day. Um, but describe the feeling you had when you played in that first, collegiate game, realizing you're looking around. Okay, we're not at Rabobank anymore. We're not at the practice
Yeah.
field anymore. We're playing Seth Stadium. There's another opponent across the way. My college career begins now. What were the feelings like for you, man?
Oh man, I mean during the course of the game, and even like the hours and days leading up to it, I was nervous but excited.
Hmm.
And I was like, wow, like I'm really here, like this is actually happening. Like I'm not only like on the sidelines of of a college team, but I'm like going to be taking the field at some point and actually making an impact, hopefully. And then the time did roll. I can't remember if I kicked any extra point. I think I did. But the one thing that I remember that stood out to me is that was my first field goal attempt ever in college, and I missed that one. And I was so nervous leading up to that, like running
Yeah.
onto the field, taking my steps. I don't really remember any of that. I was like kind of I don't want to say like I blacked out, but I was just I was so consumed with nerves that I
Right.
don't really remember it. But I do remember that I missed it. And I was so bummed out because like in my head, I'm like, oh, I just missed my one and only attempt. Probably gonna get benched. I don't know what's gonna happen. You know, you're running through all these scenarios in your head. Worst
Right.
case scenario. And I come off the field, and my special team coach, God bless him, Fred, he looked at me and he grabbed me. He's like, "You just missed your first kick. That's awesome. You got it out of the way. Like, don't have to worry about it anymore." He was like smiling. He's happy. And I can't tell you how much of an impact that had on me. Like I was going through all these bad things in my head, and he just grabbed me. He's smiling. He's like, "You got it out of the way. Like it's not that hard. You're good. You know, you're here for a reason." And that really, really settled me. I think that for the rest of the season, and I think that for the rest of my career, really allowed me like to settle down and realize like, yeah, wait, I'm here for a reason. I if I didn't have like the talent and the skill to be able to do this, obviously I probably wouldn't be here in the first place. So yeah, he really did a lot for me, and I'll never forget it. But that moment in particular was just a godsend.
Hey, man. I know coach is Coach Caducci's back with San Jose State too. He was at
He's
San
back. He's
Jose.
back home. Yeah, he's back where he
Shout out.
belongs. Couldn't be happier.
And just how what were some of his advice? Because I know special teams at in any level of football, I don't care if it's Pee Wees or Pop Warner, high school, college. I feel like it's the most like important, vital part of the game. I mean, I'm just saying that because I think everybody loves looking at quarterbacks so much. I'm like, hey, wait, it's all about the kicker, man. So you got good kicker, special teams. I really look how the Niners
Appreciate
improved
that.
over the course of the year. Like Pat McAfee said, punters are people too, right? Punters are athletes too. But what advice did Coach Guducci gave you? Kind of during practice or just like any life advice that helped you grow, not only as a player, but also as a leader at San Jose State?
I think kind of leaning on what you said of like, kickers are people too is and I guess this really it didn't really apply to just kickers, but it applied to special teams as a whole. You know, like whether you're a kicker or a punter, or if you're, a gunner going down to cover a punt, or if you're, if you're doing field goal protection, and you're, the tight end on the weak side, making sure that you do your block correctly. My coach had this saying that I think is so legendary. It's kind of become his trademark. His saying was like, "We need you," or "We need ya," and that was like his way of conveying to the world like special teams matters. That's where games are won and lost. So we need to be, perfect 100% of the time. We need to do our jobs. It's not a playoff. Like we need to do our jobs here. I could be butchering this statistic, but like something as simple as like if you are able to block a punt throughout the course of a football game, statistically the team that blocks a punt will win the game 90% of the time. Like that's a huge play.
Mm,
That's a
yeah.
huge play. You're basically stealing a possession. So like it just goes to show like how much special teams matters. And of course, like, watching as much football as I do, or as I'm sure your viewers do, like we've seen many games where like it comes down to a field goal or an extra point and it's either made or it's not made. And the game's decided right there. So his saying, "We need you," and just the specific way that he says it with all of his energy and his passion, I think that was probably the best advice. That was probably the best advice, or the best attitude that he ever had for me. Just showing to me and the rest of the team that like, hey, this part of the game matters more than you could even imagine.
Yeah, one thing when I broadcasted your guys' games too is just the way, not just San Jose State, your team, but also just any like college or even NFL too. Is how I will literally just watch kickers kind of move their way back and kind of start warming up. What are you thinking when you just go through that warm up process? Is it just more of your form or kind of wind angle, wind direction, if you will, or
Yeah, yeah. So I would usually go onto the field about 2 hours before kickoff and do like my whole warm up process. So I'm just basically taking notes and like doing my checklist of everything from like, okay, like my calf is feeling a little tight, to like, okay, the wind's blowing right to left this much. This is where I need to aim if I'm going this way, and if I'm going that way, I need to aim that way. And I'm basically checking my range for the day. So, on this half, I can kick it from this yard line, and from the other half, I can kick it from this yard line. Um, I'm checking like the conditions of like the grass or the turf, how like my plant foot is, I guess, adhering to the turf or the playing surface as I'm going through the kicking process. I'm checking in with my holder and my snapper, seeing how they're feeling. I worked extensively with a sports psychologist at San Jose State. We were very blessed to have one on staff.
Yeah.
And that was also my time to like go through. I had like I guess you could call it like a meditation ritual that I would go through before every single game. And I had it pre-recorded on my phone. So I'd stick my headphones in, sit on the bench, and listen to it. And I'd go through all these like breathing exercises, going through all these visualization processes of like, how I would want to perform during a game, kind of just visualizing the best possible outcome and like the level that I would like to play to on that day. Um, yeah, oh man, now that I think about it, there was a lot that I did before the games. I guess I never really thought about it before, but yeah, I had a checklist that was down to like the minute of like, I'm doing all of these things. I'm doing this for 10 minutes. I'm doing this for 15. I'm kicking this amount of balls, and I'm going to go put my pads on, come back out, kick another, couple or so balls, kicking with just the sticks or taking a few with full battery, full operation, snap, hold, kick.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a process for everything, and I think that's probably one of the reasons I think why I was able to do so well is I had everything down to a science to where
Mhm.
I tried to make every single game or every single practice feel the exact same. Because I mean, if you think about kicking a ball, your goal is to do the exact same thing every single time. And if you do it, then obviously the outcome should also be the same. So when you're able to take control of your environment like that, you're really able to stack the odds in your favor for success.
Yeah, I kind of compare kicking, and I tried doing it like at the NFL experience and almost blew out a
Yeah.
hamstring there. But I compare kicking to like golfing in a way because it's just
Oh,
you.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
it's just you
Yeah.
like on that battlefield, or you're not battlefield, but you like on the football field, and then you kind of playing around golf, and then you could add in pitchers too. I mean, especially if they're going for a no hitter or whatever in softball or
Right.
baseball. So I just, wanted to know like kind of that mental mindset, especially that kind of reminds me too of JJ McCarthy when Michigan had their undefeated run.
Hmm.
Um, I think one of the first shots I saw him of him that national championship game, he was just doing this on the goalpost in Houston. It was just
Yeah.
meditation. And I know they did a big old story about it, and like, oh, what's he doing? Like, is he sleeping? And then he, played the season of his life, and hopefully he can bring that to Minneapolis. I'm not sure. That's a different
Yeah.
story for today. So I'm going to share my screen here because let
Oh,
me see if
cool.
I'm going to be able to do it right now. So basically, I know, this video might mean a lot to you, and let me know when you see it, my brother.
I have a few ideas what this video could be.
Yeah, so we're gonna play a little bit of the sound. I'm gonna full screen it, so you recognize that
Yeah,
face
I
right
know.
there.
I know this one. I
Yeah,
already know what video this is. Yep.
yeah. Okay, so folks, if for any outside college football participants, I believe we're just gonna play it a little bit before. This is the legend right here, guy that's gonna get a statue probably somewhere on campus at San Jose
I
State.
hope not. I hope not.
But Coach Brent Brennan right here with the news.
What you have is you have the best place kicker in the Mountain West Conference. That's eventually what you have.
All right, there we go. So, folks, for that don't know, and we could continue to play why not. It's a happy moment for our guest here. But for folks that don't know, Matt walked on, right? And then I think this was after, I don't know if this was I think this is after the last game against Fresno State, maybe, or maybe kind of
It
later
was
months
the
in the year.
night before. It was
Night
the night
before.
before the Fresno State game. Yeah, last game of the season.
So look at that. Some familiar faces, man, that I haven't said in a while. Like, geez Louise. This is like what, 6, 7 years old already? Jeez, man.
2019. Yeah, wow.
Woo, we getting old,
Oh
bro.
man, I know.
But what was it like to just get that news? Were you expecting it? And as you can see the emotions right there on your face, man. But
Oh
were you
yeah.
expecting that moment and just kind of what were going through your thoughts? I mean, I'm sure that could be an emotional whirlwind. Then have all your brothers right there hug you and just lift you up, man.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, I actually know I had no idea that that was coming. And if you listen to the full speech, I remember sitting next. Who was I sitting next to? I think it was probably the special teams guys. But man, I remember like turning to them. Yeah, I remember turning to them in the throughout the course of that speech, and I was like, "Oh, he got to be talking about Josh Love because Josh Love was having a great season, and he had a similar story to me. I think he was also a walk on, and we got really really close during that season. I owe him a lot of credit to my success. He was the one that kind of really pushed me to do sports psychology and really helped me out. But no, I had no idea that that was coming until he said Mountain West kicker. That's when I was like, oh, like this is about me. And then the very next slide was, you are on scholarship. And I cried like a baby, man. I haven't cried that hard in a long time. I had no idea that that was coming. Um, yeah, it was like hard work. Hard work pays off, and I just that was like the validation. Finally, it was just like, yeah, you've worked hard enough. You deserve this. And then to go out the very next day and get the Valley Trophy was even more special. I think that was awesome. That was probably one of the best weeks of my life.
And what? How would you describe your relationship with Coach Brennan? Because I know head coaches are busy and stuff like that, with different departments. But did he offer you any like advice during the course of your career, man?
Yeah, I think I owe a lot of credit to him too. I mean, he pushed me really hard in the beginning, as a good head coach will do. Back when I was a red shirt, who was, second on the depth chart behind our starting kicker, and up until, that moment, and even years later, in the following seasons, uh, had very high expectations for me and pushed me really hard. And even when I was, doing really, really well, making sure that I got the credit that I deserved, but also like, hey, making sure that, I realized a job's not done. Like we got more work to do. But I think that's something that was really special about San Jose State is I had a pretty deep connection with my head coach. Like that's not the story everywhere, especially being a kicker. A lot of kickers I'm sure aren't really on a friendly basis with their head coaches, and I get it, like that's part of life. But it wasn't like that at San Jose State. I mean, I was really close with Coach Brennan, and he was awesome. He was a great head coach, and it's awesome to see him do obviously a really good job at University of Arizona. He's killing it out there.
Yeah, man, and I think he got all of us as fans. Especially we were happy for him when he got the opportunity. We missed him, but we were happy for him that he got the opportunity. So thank you, Nick
Yeah,
Saban. Thank you for
yeah.
causing that whole domino to fall. Who were some of your teammates that helped you keep your confidence?
I'd say one, the whole special teams unit. I think throughout my career, from Alex Galland, who was a transfer guy, and his last year was that year that you just showed, 2019. He punted at Yale, and just the maturity that he had, just being an older guy. Um, God, it helped me out so much. And obviously, going to Yale, he was also a pretty smart guy. So I got really close with him, and he especially helped me out. Big, just being that that was my first season starting. I really felt at ease whenever I was playing with him. He was my holder, so we just had that connection right off the bat. Like, okay, like if I was going through anything nerves wise, he just kind of looked at me like, dude, you're fine. Like, don't worry about it. No big deal. This is nothing. You've been here before. So he was a big one. My snapper, Andrew Gonaville, He was there for let's see, how many years was I at San Jose State? He was my starting snapper for 19, 20, and 21. And love that man to death.
Yeah.
He would put the ball exactly where he needed it every single time. He was really good at his job, and great football player and even better friend. Love him to death. And then some of the other position players that, obviously I had no part in, but guys like Nick Nash, Vinny Corso, Nick Starkel later on, the offensive line guys, I got super close with some of my best friends, Jesse Chamberlain and Tyler Stevens. Love those guys to death. Just again, friendships that'll never die. No matter how many times you see them, even a few years pass by, like you'll see them for the first time in a few years, and it's just you pick up right where you left off. Love those guys to death. I could go on and on with this. Josh Love, another one. He really, I owe him a lot to my success. I could go on and on with this one, but yeah, there were a lot of guys on that team that really, really helped me out. Sinjin Astani, another really, really good friend of mine, defensive lineman. But yeah, I could go on and on with this question.
Oh man, that brings up memories right there, man. Hearing
It
Nick
does.
Nash, Nick Starkel, which leads me to my next question. 2020 was the year from hell. Let's just be real.
Yeah.
But you guys played football. You guys played, it was some meaningful football, right? I'll just keep
Yeah.
it at that. We'll lead into the special season, but how would you describe kind of the unique 2020 season that you guys had? I mean, you guys got relocated, having to practice at Humboldt, come back, play a consistent schedule, and then having to play
Mhm.
in Vegas for like the last, I don't know, 2 to 3 weeks, and then capping it off with the first ever Mountain West championship and first conference out in like, what, 20, 30 years? Just
Yeah.
how would you describe that feeling, man, being part of that team?
Man, the team just bought in from the very beginning, no matter what the circumstances were or how crappy it got. Like the team was like the whole attitude was just like, all right, like whatever, like we'll just deal with it as it happens. As more bad news rolls in, we'll just deal with it. We'll find a way around it, and we'll just keep playing good football. And I think that attitude of just like, hey, just suck it up, figure out a way to win was just I think just the whole team just kind of embodied that from doing fall camp all the way in Northern California in Humboldt State to eventually having to practice in Santa Cruz County, going across Highway 17 every day, taking classes online from our laptops on the sideline, to staying in an empty resort in Henderson, Nevada, to play the last 3 games of the season.
Right.
Living in a hotel for that long also is not fun. I mean, it was a cool resort, but I think staying in any hotel for that long is just a nightmare. I will never do that again. Um, yeah, just whatever kept happening to us, getting the news from the county that we couldn't practice in the county, and then getting the news from the state that we couldn't play home games in the state. We're just like, all right, well, like that sucks, but whatever, like we'll figure it out, no big deal. We played home games in Hawaii against Hawaii. Played home games in Nevada, against I think UNLV was technically a home game.
Right.
And then having, let's see, University of Nevada also there at that was it Sam Boyd? I think Sam Boyd
Sam
Stadium is
Boyd,
what it used to
yeah.
be called. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Playing University of Nevada and then Las Vegas there. And then eventually Boise State for the championship with not a single person in the stands the entire time. It was like, there's just no way that this is happening right now. It was crazy. And then we finally just got to the very end, and we were expecting, I think, just because it was Boise State, like we were expecting just a tough game, no matter what the outcome was going to be. It was going to be, just trading blows the whole time. It was probably going to be a close game, and then, like, don't get me wrong, like it was a tough game, but it also like I think we kind of blew them out of the water. It very quickly became evident, like, no, we were the better team this year. And yeah, man, to be able to lift that trophy at the end, just so cool, and just to be part of that history for San Jose State, like I'll never forget it. Never forget it.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to pay meal. Well, we're all older, but you shouldn't have to pay for meals there. I mean, it sounds like you and the guys. So I'll just mention this story that I've never told publicly before, and then we'll continue on with the interview. So um, obviously, the 2020 season was special, and the game against Hawaii, when you guys were in Hawaii, I think it was because I know Bailey Gaither had a long,
Yeah.
TD throw, and you guys closed out that stadium, by the way. So way to
Yeah,
do it style.
we
Closed out
did.
Aloha Stadium, and I know they're getting a new one. So my grandma was my dad's mom was got diagnosed with COVID like
Mm.
probably like 3 or 4 weeks before, like during the season, and we received the unfortunate news that she had passed away in a nursing home here in Salinas.
Sorry about
Um,
that.
yeah, thanks, man. It was actually during that Hawaii game, and for like 3 hour, like by watching that game on the whatever app that we had to go download on the Fire Stick, you guys provide so much joy, not just for obviously our campus community, whatever, a little bubble at San Jose State, but also Bay Area, including our family, man. So I always will have massive love and respect and appreciation for every member of that coaching staff, training staff, you know, student assistants, and y'all. So I appreciate you guys bringing that joy, especially in the really, I would say, effed up year of that
Yeah.
2020. So I just thought I
Yeah.
would share that with you, my brother, because you guys played an important role in that year.
I appreciate that, man. I think that was yeah, I think football for everybody on that during that time was just kind of an outlet for all the emotions that, we were going through with just the bad news, just one after another every single week, lockdowns, obviously sickness and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, man, football was definitely an outlet, especially for the guys on that team. It was like for a long time it felt like this is kind of all we have. So we were just hoping and praying that we could keep it going. Some government official wasn't going to come in and hit timeout. So
Yeah.
we found a way. We found a way.
Amen to that. Now, before I continue to ask about the 2020 season, I've always asked any one of my guests with a San Jose State connection about the late great Lawrence Fan, who was the head
Hmm.
SID for San Jose State athletics, and obviously for you guys. Do you have any favorite Lawrence Fan memories per se, or just stories that you heard over the years?
Man, I mean, I spent a lot of time around Lawrence, just being a kicker on the sideline during practice or during games. Obviously, you could probably imagine there's a lot of downtime. So I was always gravitating towards other people who are also on the sideline who maybe weren't practicing, saying hi, and whether it's fans coming to watch an open practice or it's training staff or guys like Lawrence. And man, Lawrence is I really cannot put this. It's hard to put it into words, and even me saying it doesn't justify how nice and down to earth Lawrence was. He really was one of a kind, and it was a huge loss for San Jose State when he passed, unfortunately. And I still remember that day when that happened, and it was so tragic, so tragic. But I mean, just we were just lucky enough to have him as a part of our staff and a part of our team, our university. Yeah, he was one of a kind, and he always made a point to show love to the kickers and the special teams guys, and I'll always be thankful for that.
I just remember that Zoom interview I did with you, and he was on the
Yeah.
call before we pressed record. And I just remember kind of like he had his office right there on 7th Street on Alma Avenue, just a stack of folders going up and up and up and up. Didn't topple over. I did not know how it was going to topple over. That man just brought out so much knowledge. Yeah, it's a
So,
real,
oh my, yeah, man, that guy, the depth of knowledge that he had, he
yeah.
was like an encyclopedia for, I mean, not just San Jose State football, but just for football in general.
Hmm. And yeah, he's missed every day. I hope one day we can rename like the press box after the legend
Yeah, that'd be
at FQ
cool.
Stadium. That would be amazing. Hopefully, once you and I make some millions of dollars, and maybe Starkle could come in, Josh Love, we could chip in. We'll all chip in
Yeah,
together.
we can figure something out.
We
Yeah.
could figure something out. So I know you talked about kind of the moments of 2020 of the 2020 season, kind of just like not letting anything phase you guys, just rolling with the punches. But was there a specific like moment or weeks during practice? When did you know when that team was going to be special?
That was fall camp. Yeah. I mean, there were like, hints of it throughout the entire preseason, going from, winter workouts to spring ball and summer workouts. You can just kind of feel like when a team is really close with each other. I think that's kind of like the first, excuse me. I think that's kind of like the first hint of like, there might be some success in this team's future. And I actually think we kind of owe COVID a little bit of credit there. Um, because of COVID, spring ball got cut short, and then we all spent a lot of time in our, at home. Everybody had to go home for a while, so we spent some time at home. But we had like basically the football staff had created I think it was a Facebook group. Yeah, I think it was a Facebook group with all of every single football player, every single coach, and the point of it was to keep people accountable for like making sure they're doing their workouts at home, whether or not they had a gym or access to like lifting equipment. There was a workout for basically if you had no equipment, there was a workout program for you that was written out, or if you had equipment, there was a workout program, or maybe if you had a little bit, there was a different program for you. But the point of the group was one, to make sure you had to post a video every single day of you doing your workout. And then you could also just post whatever else you wanted. So for a while, like that was the only way that we communicated with one another. But we all did a really good job of doing that. And I think through that process, we just kind of figured like, oh man, I really miss these guys a lot. So hopefully get to see them again soon. And then finally got the call like to start migrating back to San Jose, and I moved into a new house with a couple other teammates. And I was there for a few weeks before football was able to start up again. So we had again some downtime. But
Right.
for the guys that were in town, like even if there was no football, even though we probably weren't supposed to, like we would go to their house and hang out, or they'd come to our house and hang out. And I think it was half of it was just being so close to each other that made us successful. And then at least during the summertime, um, you know, it was a little bit of delinquency also. Like we know it's against the rules, but like these are my guys, and I see them every day at football anyway. So it doesn't make a lot of sense for me to have to quarantine from them for a few hours and then go back to football in the morning and see them again. So like,
Right.
yeah, I don't know. I think it was just, I think it was kind of a theme of the season. Just like we're going to try to bend a few rules just to keep playing football, like whatever it takes. And I think that was kind of part of our identity for a while. Is like we'll do whatever it takes to get the job done. Doesn't matter if it's driving to another county or flying to a different state. Like we're gonna get the job done. We're gonna come and we're gonna beat your butt. So like it was awesome. Like we felt it kind of made you feel like how can I say this? Like people were kind of already counting us out, whether it was the
Mm.
football community or just other people in general, and state government and health departments, and people were just like, oh, like yeah, it's no big deal, like football's over. I was like, no, 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 we'll figure out a way. We're gonna get this done, and we're gonna make some fireworks this season.
Yeah, you guys did, and I stole your guys' team phrase for like. So if any of my friends like accomplish something, um, just remember the social media. So the stop sign that Coach Brennan had on the
Yeah,
bus that stop. I'm climbing the mountain, and
yeah.
me being the journalist that I am, I'm just like, not making fun of you guys or anything. I'm just like,
No, no,
like
no. It's
what?
we embodied that so much that we also kind of turned it into a running joke. Like no matter what it was, if somebody was doing something wrong, we're like, yo, dude, hold on. We're climbing the mountain here. It was the best. It was the best.
It didn't help that the conference is the Mountain West Conference.
Yeah, that was part of it. Yeah, that was part of it.
Oh my god! And then I think their slogan now, I think it's at the peak. So I always say, "Oh, I'll see you at the." I always tell my
Oh, that's
friends,
right.
homeboys, Richard and Robert, I'm like, "Hey, congratulations, making it! You made it to enjoy the view from the peak of the mountain." And then I always get that image of him. I think this was on the bus right after you guys got to Humble. It's just he has the sign.
Yeah,
Okay, and then I use it now. So thank you, Coach Brett. Appreciate you.
it's the best.
Um,
And just a little story on that, kind of
yeah,
going on that point of like we embodied that saying, that phrase. We truly embodied that as a team
yeah.
to the point where it also kind of became a joke. Um, I was talking about that Facebook group earlier when we were all home working out. One of the things that I did is I live in Toro Park. My family lives in Toro Park, so I was like, I'm gonna go to Toro Regional Park and I'm gonna climb Mount Toro. So I one of my workouts was I took just a backpack and some water, climbed basically as high as you could go up Mount Toro to the point where like there weren't really any more trails. I
Yeah.
just kept going until there was nothing else above me. And then I got to the peak, didn't have any service, but I took a video and I just kind of did like a 360 like selfie video. I was like, hey guys, I climbed a mountain today. Like, just keep going, you know? So
That's a that's a good one right there, man. Now,
yeah,
if you guys climbed to the Lick Observatory too, that would have been epic.
yeah, that would have
Love
been cool.
that, man. So as a golfer, I'm used to like not having any crowds following me around, because I'm an amateur, right?
Mm.
But for you guys, especially in a sport where you guys thrive off of the energy of the crowd, did it feel weird to kick with nobody there, like to play with nobody there, essentially?
Yeah, it was kind of one of those things that you got used to, and as
Okay.
much as I hated it, um, like the stadiums would like pump in like the fake crowd noise, and like that actually made it a little bit better. Because there's one thing that I hate is I hated as a kicker is playing in a stadium that had people but not enough to where like individual voices couldn't weren't drowned out.
Mm,
Because the last thing I would want to do as a kicker is like focus, especially as I'm about to go kick, is be focusing on one singular person, whether they're actually like yelling at me or just yelling in general or just saying nonsense. I just taking my focus away from that moment. So I liked kicking in either silent environments or environments like Arkansas, where it's like 80,000 people and it's so loud that like the ground is shaking, or like Autzen when we played Oregon in 2018, like the stadium is physically shaking when you're playing there because there's so many people. Um, those are the two environments I liked, like polar opposites, like dead empty or filled to the brim with people. Because yeah, I just had the ability to, if I could, I will focus on one singular voice, and it's going to take me away from what I'm trying to accomplish here.
right. Yeah, I love hearing that perspective because broadcasting, I mean, it kind of felt a little weird, but in a way, that's the most amount of people that I've had listening to the broadcast for some weird reason. Where there's nobody there and everybody's at home, just
Yeah,
hearing that.
everybody wanted to be a part of it. It was that special.
Exactly, man. So I know you played the following year, 2021, which obviously did go the way you guys predicted in that season, and then you made the decision to transfer to Villanova. Um, Was it a difficult decision to transfer? And what stood out about Villanova University?
Yeah, it was a difficult decision. But like just to give you some background on that, I think because of my situation having so much eligibility left, like at that time, I was like on the verge of getting my bachelor's and then still had 2 more years of eligibility left. I was like, it's like, well, I can keep playing at San Jose State and I would love to do that, or I can use these 2 years to go get a scholarship and get like a good graduate education. And I was of the mindset like, okay, like football's not going to last forever. You may or may not get a shot at the next level, but even if you do, that's also going to end at some point. So, do I want to keep playing football where I am, where I'm content and happy and comfortable, or try out something new, find a new environment that might make me a little bit more uncomfortable, step outside of my comfort zone a little bit? And I think that was probably the biggest thing is I was looking for a new challenge. I was looking to get a really good master's degree or a graduate education. And I wanted to see something new. I'd grown up in that area, an hour away from San Jose. And then I spent 5 years in San Jose. And I was like, I don't know if as much as I love the guys and I loved that team, I wasn't sure if I wanted to spend another 2 years there. I was ready to move on, and so made that decision. And Villanova was one of the first schools to reach out. And I had always wanted to go to the East Coast ever since I was a kid. being able to visit a few times, I instantly fell in love with it. So, um, got a scholarship opportunity at Villanova and came out for an official visit. And I was like, yeah, I think this is the new home for me. And as tough as that decision was, and as like there were definitely some people that were upset with me for doing so, walking away from like the starting position and a scholarship at San Jose. It was just something that I needed for myself at the time. And if I had to go back and do it again, like I would. Like I have no regrets about it whatsoever. I'm sorry if people were upset with me, but at the end of the day, you got to do what's best for you. And at the time, like that's exactly what that was.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people thought you were going to play basketball with like some Jalen Brunson, Dante DiVincenzo, all those guys. And yes, folks, I did say earlier, Villanova does have a football team.
They do
Matt,
have a football
they
team.
do
I
have a
get that
football
question a
team.
lot, actually.
Like, oh my God, they do. My boy Matt here had 2 seasons there. Obviously, the biggest one, I think, in my opinion, was in 2023. Just looking at some stats here. Sorry, I have to bring up the stats. But
No,
I
you're
mean, made
fine.
10 field goals. Look at 83% 2022. Then team wise, you guys went to the Division One quarterfinal. Yes, folks, there's an actual playoff system besides the CFP. Sorry for those
Arguably better. Arguably better.
arguably better. Yeah, of course, if Derrick was running the show, I would fix it right away. But I'm not. I'm sitting here talking to you. Yeah, you guys won a home playoff game before getting eliminated by North Dakota State, or South Dakota State, another powerhouse. But I just wanted to ask, was it tough? I know you talked about just wanting to challenge yourself in a new environment. Was it tough moving from basically being a stone's throw away here in Salinas, San Jose State? It's like a slingshot. You're there in an hour, but to move to California to Philly, was it tough moving to the East Coast and far away from family?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. But again, like that was kind of what I was looking for.
Yeah,
Not in the terms of like an escape from my family and my friends, but in more so in like I need to like as an adult, try something new, do something challenging, see new things, and kind of make it for myself. And that transition was hard because I mean, being in San Jose, like if I had an off weekend, I could go home for the weekend. It's an hour drive. Now it's like a 6 hour flight and I can't go home on weekends. And I don't even know if my family has the ability to come and see one of my games this season or when the next time I'm going to be able to go home is. So like, yeah, that I think was kind of the first time where I really felt like, oh, I'm an adult. Like legally, I've been an adult at that point for 6 years, but like that was the first time I was like, oh, like I'm on my own. Like I obviously having a support system through the school and through athletics, and they were awesome. But still, it's like, okay, I have some responsibilities here that I need to be accountable for, and obviously get the job done. And even little things like, oh, I got to get my car registered here. Like, oh, that's gonna be horrible. So
yeah. Did you have to change your driver's license at all, or?
I did eventually, but that was after I left school. I figured I could probably skirt by for 2 years, and
Yeah,
then after that, it's like, okay, you gotta fix this.
yeah, yeah. And what was it like? What were some of your favorite memories playing at Villanova Stadium?
Ooh, I mean, that's an easy one for me. In my first season in 2022, we were playing Albany at home. I forget which game it was, like which week. Um, Maybe week 6 or 8. I don't know why that number stands out to me. I think it was in the end of October.
October 22nd,
Yeah,
2022. Yeah,
yes. It was a close game, and Albany. I figured out very quickly that like it's not on paper an official rivalry, but like there's definitely some bitterness in a rivalry there, especially now. The That was the first time I kicked a game winner. So like a true like clocks hit zero game winner. And I was like, man, I've played for this long and I haven't had this opportunity yet. And like finally I get this opportunity. And it was I mean, from my perspective, it was a chip shot, like 28-yard field goal. And so like I was going through like the I guess before I like ran onto the field or as I was running onto the field to eventually kick that game winner, like my mindset wasn't like, oh, like I hope I make this, like I can win this for my team. It wasn't at all that. It was more so along the lines of, if I don't make this, I'm quitting football. You suck. Like if you have to make this kick, it's a chip shot. It's so like, I knew I had that ability, and I had no nerves whatsoever. I was just like, okay, like you're here. It's finally your turn to just end the game on your terms. And so yeah, I made it right down the middle, and I was like, yeah. Obviously I was excited, but I was like, yeah, obviously I made that kick. Like, not to sound cocky, because I don't think I'm a cocky guy, but yeah, my whole mindset before going in kicking that was like, you better make this or you're never playing football again. I'm quitting right there. So
Yeah.
that was kind of really the only time I've ever felt like that in terms of mindset. Um, but yeah, it was awesome. I did make it, so it was good.
It's all that years of practice, man. And how was the bond with those guys, especially you being kind of the outsider coming in from the, obviously I would say a mid major, but big time program, San Jose State, Mountain West, to Division One, FCS, Villanova. You're the new kid in town. How was the how'd you get acquainted with the guys over there?
Oh man, it was easy. And there were like a lot of like weird coincidences of like people from back home that actually know some guys or coaches at Villanova, and like some weird connections that, like, oh, this guy from San Jose State actually, like Alex Gallant, for example, punter from Yale that played at San Jose State. My coach was a coach at Yale previously, so he knew Alex from Yale. And it's like there was a bunch of weird small connections like that. And I think those coincidences, and just the fact that, okay, like I'm 24. I'm not like some fresh 18-year-old coming from high school trying to figure out college for the first time.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I know what my job is here. I know what I'm here to do. Like, let's get the ball rolling and start doing that. It was super easy to get along with the guys. It was really, really easy. Again, made just more friends for life. I'll never forget. And they really took me in from the very beginning. And like Villanova doesn't recruit that far. Typically, they usually recruit from within like a 6-hour drive of the campus.
Right.
The only other California guy that I could think of who was actually there right before me was also a kicker by the name of Cole Bunce, who grew up in the Bay Area and kicked at TCU. And after he finished kicking at TCU, transferred to Villanova. And while he was in the transfer portal, I actually remember meeting him because he came out to a San Jose State practice just to see like if there was any spots available. So I actually remember talking to him at a San Jose State practice before I had any inkling whatsoever that I was going to be transferring to Villanova. But yeah, like that was another one of the weird coincidences. I was like, oh wait, you ended up at Villanova. Like that's crazy. Like I'm transferring there now. And so he was one of the guys that helped me get there. But yeah, in terms of like where guys are from, I think by a long shot, with the exception of Garrett Rogan, who is from Washington, and Colin Gamroth, who are they're both from Washington, the state of Washington. Like we were the furthest from home. There were not a lot of guys from the West Coast.
Wow.
Yeah, so we got along. We got along really well. We got along really
Yeah.
well.
Football's a small community, man. And did you
It
ever go
really is.
to the Villanova basketball games?
I actually never went to a men's basketball game, but I did go to a lot of women's games.
Okay.
I'll be respectful. Unfortunately, during my time there, the men's team was not very good, and that's fine. Like I've
Yeah.
been on bad teams too. Like it's okay. But the women's team was really good, and so I was like, I'm just gonna go watch the women's team. So maybe I'll find a girlfriend, or if not, I'll just watch some really good basketball and have a good time. So
Yeah, because I think the year before you got there, man, I think Jay Wright, who was legendary head coach for Villanova, left
yeah,
or retired.
yeah,
So I know they're kind of in a rebuild. I know they made the tournament. They're still rebuilding, or kind of trying to get back to that national championship lore. And speaking of other sports, you played multiple sports, and I know a lot of kids, basically coming out, growing up, are either pigeonholed into one sport nowadays, with the
right,
parents thinking like they're the next, their parents are trying to be Earl Woods or Richard Williams or whatever.
yeah.
But what are the benefits from your perspective of playing multi-sports, and how do you think it's helped you?
Yeah, I think especially when you're young, I'd say like throughout your entire career as a young athlete up until your senior year of high school, you should be playing at least two sports. So like your main sport, let's say it's football, in the off season, you should be running track. Or I guess in my case, if you're a kicker for the football team, like go play soccer in the off season, or go run track, or play some golf. But you should be playing as many sports as you possibly can up until your last year of high school because you're still developing, you're still growing. One, you're not going to figure out what you really like until you get older. But two, as an athlete, you're going to be you're going to continue to develop and grow and get all these different skills and pull them from different sports. So it's all at the end of the day, it's going to make you a better athlete. Mentally, it's going to make you sharper. You're going to be more used to competition. So yeah, it's overall, mentally, physically, as a person, your character, sports just develops the best people, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So yeah, play as many sports as you possibly can. And if you're lucky enough to play college sports, obviously, whatever sport you do play in college, when you're in college, just play that sport. Like don't be a multi-sport athlete in college. I've seen a lot of guys on my football team like roll ankles playing pickup basketball. Like it's not worth it. But yeah, even after college, like once college is done and you're done playing whatever college sport you're playing, like, okay, you have other sports you can fall back on. So like now as an adult with no more football in his life, like I go and I play pickup soccer every Thursday with my boys and I love it
Right.
to death. I can play soccer again. Or, I
Right.
go hit the links during the summer and the spring when the weather's nice and I can. So yeah, once serious sports are over, you want to be able to play something for the rest of your life, whether it's, golf or soccer, or whatever you do play.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an outlet to spend your energy and build yourself as a kid, as a person and build your character. So yeah, sports are great and it develops great leaders too.
Absolutely. It teaches you a lot about success and failure in life.
Yeah.
Just from
Adversity, overcoming adversity.
standings, scoreboard. Yeah, absolutely. Now, I remember seeing your photos at Levi Stadium. You're in the workout shirt, and then
Yeah.
a couple of other teams. Did you ever think of playing in the NFL, or were you just did that football gene just kind of like, okay, I've exhausted the juice I had, and that I want to just get started for my post football playing career?
No, I mean, I was very serious about pursuing it, but the deal that I made with myself was like I'm giving myself 1 year after college football is over to do that. I'm only giving myself 1 year because given how old I was, for how long I played, how lucky I was to play for that long, like I got out of college. By the time I finished college football, I was 25 already, and I had friends who didn't play sports who had already been in the workforce for 4 years, making
Right.
money. And
Right.
I was like, listen, I'm giving myself a year. I'll get a job in the meantime, obviously to pay bills and to live. But yeah, the deal I made with myself was 1 year, and obviously it didn't work out, which is fine. But still, to be able to go as far as I did, I did my pro day at the Eagles practice facility in front of their entire coaching staff and even a few players, which was like I'll never forget that. It was probably the best kicking session, best workout I ever had in my life.
Hmm.
And then, a few weeks later, hopping on a flight that I didn't pay for to go try out at the 49ers local day and stay in a hotel next to Great America that I also didn't pay for. And to go try out for the 49ers, which I rooted for my entire life. Like I think I had a smile on my face the entire time. Because like, I can't believe I'm actually here. Like that's crazy. I never once imagined that I'd actually make it here, but
Right.
just through slowly chipping away year after year and rep after rep, like I was able to get there. And I'm so thankful that I was able to do that because, like, obviously it didn't work out, but like I'll have those memories and I'll have those pictures and those feelings for the rest of my life. And, I can brag about it forever. So,
Yeah, man. I know it's definitely hard to get to that spot too. Now, what is your position with Siemens Healthineers, and how did you get involved with it? What kind of led you down towards the medical path there?
Yeah, so it's long story short, Villanova, just being the powerhouse of a school that it is, has just an incredible alumni network. And so, yeah, once college football ended, I was like, okay, like I'm 25 and I need to get serious about life now. So I used my connections at Villanova to get a job at Siemens Healthineers. I started off as in strategy and business development for North America. Worked with a great group of people there. Loved them to death. And then I switched teams. I switched roles in October of 2024 to reimbursement manager, where basically we deal with everything that has to do with coding coverage and payment for medical devices. So working a lot with insurance companies, commercial payers, Medicare, Medicaid, all that fun stuff, interpreting state and federal policy. Basically, just making sure at the end of the day that if people buy our products, buy our medical devices, that they're going to get paid to use them.
That's awesome, man. And how long you been there?
So let's see. I got my first job here in February of 2024. So I just passed the 2 year mark about a month ago. So time flies. I gotta say, time really flies.
That's crazy, man. And happy for you. And one of the questions that's tradition on the Chronicles from the Upper Deck. What advice would you give your younger self?
Mm. Played football earlier. No. I guess yeah, I guess that would kind of be one of them, jokingly, in hindsight. But like, it still worked out, so like I'm happy. I had a fantastic career, and it worked out exactly the way it was supposed to. I'll put it that way. But man, I guess other advice I'd give myself, I don't know, like it's something that I already adhere to, but like if I could go back and like hammer the point of just like adversity is a part of life, and you're either gonna make yourself better from that, or you're gonna cower in fear and feel sorry for yourself. So there's a fork in the road, and you got to pick which direction that you're gonna go. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing to take a second and mourn, or shed a tear, or feel bad or feel sorry for yourself, but you can't be like that forever. You allow yourself a few minutes to gather your strength, let everything out if you need to, and then once you're ready to go, it's like, okay, like that's it. Like this is behind me. I'm gonna let that moment make me a better person, whether it's just in life in general, or trying to succeed at a new job, or play a college sport. Um, Basically, just there's this saying that I actually have it tattooed on me, so it better mean a lot to me. But there's this Latin saying. I'm a bit of a stoic, if you know what this stoicism is. Memento mori, and it's the literal translation of memento mori is remember that you'll die. And I know it sounds a little morbid, but there's a deeper meaning to it. And it's basically that bad things in life happen, like that's inevitable, and they're going to happen to you. Are you going to let those bad moments shape your entire life in a bad way, or are you going to take those and be like, hey, you know what? That's life. Crap happens. I'm just going to keep moving on and make this a learning moment, and use that to my advantage going forward. So you shape the environment you're in. The environment doesn't shape you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's powerful, man. And yeah, I remember you got that tattooed. I think it's on your right leg or left thigh or
It's on my right. Yep, it's on my. I made sure everybody saw it when I was playing football. Short shorts, man.
yeah, I remember that. Like, damn, that looks painful. But I just love kind of the phrase, and I kind of put it in like golf terms too. It's just like the next hole mentality.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
moving on to the next hole because you're gonna get a seven. But I mean, as long as you have that next level mentality, because attitude to me is like one of the hidden ingredients of any winning program or golfer or whatever. I think if you have a positive attitude, just kind of that knowing that, okay, it might have not gone my way today. What can I do better? I think that's kind of the secret ingredient for any workplace or just, life in general. Um,
Yeah, exactly.
I know you've been dreading this. So we got two questions. It's our Q&A portion, baby, from our audience. Let's go. Both of them are alumni of this program like program. Pat McAfee says program. I say program like real Englishmen do. Um, but both of them are Palma alums. Both of them are your boys. So his first one is from Robert Hernandez, and shout out to Robert. Passed one of his medical exams as he's trying to become a college
Yeah,
coach.
saw that.
Shout out to you,
Awesome.
Mr. Hernandez. Okay, this is his words, not mine. So here we go. I'll try to sound like him, but I won't really. I want to know, what was your mindset when you were in the unknown and didn't know if he was going to even have a place on the team, but still showed up every day, executed, and got a scholarship? You are the GOAT. That is in Robert Hernandez's words right there.
I love that. So I guess the portion of my life, at least in college football, when I guess I would say was my unknown, was my freshman year, where I was like on the team, but kind of in name only. Like it wasn't quite official yet, but it looked like it was going to work out, but still wasn't quite sure. That was kind of the unknown in my life. And it wasn't perfect by any means. It wasn't like a dark time in my life, but I didn't use it to set myself up for success later on. Um, I guess you could say it was like your typical 18-year-old freshman guy, first time in college, freshman year. Obviously like going to parties, meeting girls, meeting new friends. And I wasn't playing football yet, so I was like, okay, like this is fine. I'm not doing anything wrong. And I wasn't doing anything wrong. So it was totally fine. Wasn't breaking any rules, wasn't breaking any laws. Like it was fine. But by the time I did report to the football team, I hadn't developed any sense of maturity or any sense of like, okay, this is my responsibility now. Like this is my job. I was still trying to find ways to split time between my fraternity and my football team and trying to keep everything on an even keel. Doing stupid stuff like going out on weekdays before practice, showing up to practice the next day not at 100%, having a terrible day at practice, or showing up late. I showed up late so many times my first year, to the point where I almost got myself kicked off the team, and rightfully so. And that was kind of my unknown. And that's where I guess I come back to it again. It's like, am I going to let all that bad stuff define myself and define the rest of my life and my career as a football player? And it's going to stop right there. And then I'm just going to go back to school and that's it. I'm a student for the rest of my life. Or am I going to accept that I've done something wrong, that I was wrong, but I have the opportunity to fix it now and, become the best person and the best football player that I can be. And I remember going home. It was right after the 2018 season. Again, it was a really dark time for me just because of everything that I had done and all the bad things that I had done, just not being a good teammate. I went home for Christmas and I remember thinking really long and hard. I was like, which direction do I want to go? Like got my fraternity friends. I got my fraternity. I still love them all to death, by the way. But I had to choose basically, like, do I want this life for myself with no possibility of a scholarship, no possibility of football, just be a student, be a frat guy, and have fun? Or do I want to choose the other path, which is football, maybe someday be a starter, maybe someday get a scholarship, and just, grind every single day, make myself a better person, make my team better. And ultimately I chose football because I knew like there's the opportunity to actually make an impact for the school, for my teammates, for my team. And then, hey, maybe I'll get a scholarship out of this whole thing. That'd be cool. So that's what I ended up doing. And I guess, like I said, it just all comes back to not letting the bad stuff define you or taking that bad stuff and turning it into something good. And I accepted responsibility. I felt sorry for myself for a few minutes. I was like, okay, like this is my direction now. I'm not doing that anymore. This is the direction that I want to go. So I guess, that was kind of my unknown. And what was the other part of the question?
He just said, "You are the GOAT."
That's right.
But yeah, I appreciate you opening up like that because I think a lot of I would say I can't speak for your situation, but I know just a lot of kids that go out, go out of high school, especially here, going to this big, wide fishbowl of being in college, no matter what school you go to. And sometimes I think they struggle and then they just don't know how to ask for help. So
Right.
I think with your story, you just kind of look within saying, hey, what am I doing wrong here? Luckily, amazing support system that you have. And then you just relied on yourself and look where you are now, man. That's just the power of, you know, making the right decisions at the right times, but also just knowing that what you want in life too.
Yeah. And my story is not unique. Like everybody goes through it. And I'm not saying it's wrong to, go out and have fun as a college kid, but do so responsibly, especially if you're a college football player. Don't jeopardize your ability to play. Don't jeopardize your team image. Because at the end of the day, you got to remember, like, your name is on the back of the jersey, but your school and your team name is on the front of your jersey, and you represent both. And so, yeah, man, like I've always been open and honest about, I guess, my story in that aspect, because it's part of who I am, and it's part of the reason I seriously think why I'm like here today, because I was able to take that bad stuff and turn it into something good.
Yeah, amen, brother. And this last one's from Francisco Revelo, your soccer teammate, our
Yeah,
brother.
my guy.
I'm just gonna read the text. I texted this dude at like 2 days ago, and he barely got responded. 24 hours later, I think he's making the money for his new job or for his job.
I know what job that is. Yeah, he
Yeah,
actually he
yeah.
works for my father. Yeah.
Shout out to you, Mr. Mercurio. Okay. So I told him, hey, what's up? I'm going to have your boy, Money Merc, on the show. Do you have any questions you want asked? What a guy. Sorry for the delay, bro. That's in his words, not mine, once again. Tell him he said, hi, what's up? I'm curious to see, and this is the question part. What books are you currently reading? And if there's any that you would recommend? And I'm a book guy too, as you can see with this lovely shelf right here. So any
Yeah,
books that you've been
I got
reading?
a few back here somewhere.
Okay.
Um, the one that made the most impact on my life, and I actually didn't read it until was it last year? 2 years ago, I read it for the first time, and I've made a point now I'm going to read it once a year, because it's that powerful of a reminder. Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, fantastic book, and I think everybody should read it, whether you're a nonfiction guy like me or not. And it's I wouldn't like classify it as like a self-help book, because I don't consider myself a self-help book guy, but yeah, man, life-changing book. It really is, because I was reading it. Wow, the first time I read it, I was going through some stuff in life that just, it sucked. And it teaches you to change your mindset about how you perceive bad things. And then you end up asking yourself, like, wait, these things never really were bad in the first place. Or like this shouldn't have had as much of an effect as I allowed it to have on me. It is a life-changing book. And I won't spoil it for anybody, but like I have a bunch of quotes in my phone that I just wrote down, so I can, like, if I was ever out and about and I wanted to like look at some quotes from that book that had an impact on me, I could just pull them up real quick, read them, be like, oh yeah, that's right, like that wasn't that bad, like this isn't that bad. But yeah, man, Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, life-changing book. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Francisco is also a huge fan of Stoicism and the Daily Stoic. I think the guy's name is Matt Holliday, is the guy who runs that page. But yeah, Ryan Holiday. It's Ryan Holiday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know we get coffee all the time at Bearded Bean. When I last hung out with him, I think this was before Robert's wedding, and he's like, "Yeah, man, you gotta watch David Goggin videos and run, and that motivates me." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, well, bro, I don't need that intensity at 6 a.m. when I wake up." I will say though, on my bookshelf here, what do we got? Obviously, I support our fellow Sleeps native Alan Shipnuck. He's got a new one on Rory coming out. I think next week or next month, actually. Couple of baseball ones. There's a Sports Illustrated almanac from like 2011 when we were drinking
Oh,
Capri Sun
nice.
right there. The reason I have that is because the late great Kobe Bryant right there on the
Yeah.
side. Stuart Scott, legend, one of my inspirations of getting on in the sports broadcasting, journalism, media, talks about his cancer journey, and that came out like I think the year before he died. We miss him
Oh,
every day. So a couple of that, and then also one that I'm reading here. I'm a big Tupac guy, so only God can judge me. Jeff Pearlman, who did Winning Time with the Lakers, he did about gosh, like I think like 3,000 interviews with different people. Um, and the I think the main meaning why he wanted to do this book, if what's the song, if Brenda had a baby or something, he actually reveals who
yeah, it rings a
Brenda
bell.
is. Yeah. So it's a pretty good book. I'm kind of in the throes of it. I think let's see, I'm probably like a quarter of the way through it. So folks read it, because all eyes on me, right? There's a joke right there. All right, we're gonna wrap it up with a few fun questions here. Gonna start with this one. Who's your favorite football kicker to watch or that you emulated, and why?
Sebastian Janikowski was the first guy that I ever latched onto. Because he was so unorthodox in every single way that you can imagine on the field and off the field. As a kicker, one unorthodox thing about him is if you watch him take his steps compared to other kickers, like if you can imagine taking like your measurements to go kick a field goal, you take 3 steps back and 2 steps to the left or 2 steps to the right if you're a lefty. But yeah, like you have the just like those are your. It's hard to explain to people that don't know, but like those are your steps, and that's how you
Yeah.
measure every single kick. And it has to be precise, and it has to be the same length every single time. Janikowski would just kind of walk backwards at a 45-degree angle, like 3 or 4 steps, and then kick. So I was like, I don't know how this guy does that. And he was, I believe he was born in Poland. I know he comes from a Polish family, but I believe he was actually born in Poland, and his nickname was the Polish Cannon. Um, and then unorthodox off the field, he was like, if you're familiar with Marquette King, like a Raider in every sense of the word. Like I remember John Gruden had a story about Janikowski showing up to a game drunk, and then he like nailed like this huge field goal. And I don't know, like I wasn't that kind of player, but like I guess I had some moments like that in my college career where I was like, obviously not being the best teammate, but man, yeah, he was just. I think what I liked most about him is like he's when you imagine a kicker and just how a kicker looks and acts, like he doesn't seem like a kicker. He just seems like a football guy. And like that
Right.
was something that I wanted to embody as much as I could. And I think that's another thing that really led to my success is I wanted to, as much as I could be, just be a football guy. I don't want to be a kicker. I want to be a football guy.
Mhm.
Whether I'm doing the same workouts as everybody else, the same conditioning as everybody else, if I'm not, partaking in a drill because it doesn't apply to my position, how can I help out in this drill? And I'll go hold a bag. I got no problem with that. I don't do much during practice anyway. Keep me busy. But yeah, just taking every opportunity for my teammates to see that this means so much to me that I'm willing to go above and beyond just my job to kick a football to make sure our team is successful. And so that just I want to be pictured and embodied as a football guy, and I took that away from Janikowski, believe that or not. But yeah, Janikowski, first kicker that I ever latched onto.
I love it. Yeah, he was the now they called Al Davis crazy because he got drafted him, I think, in the first or second round or whatever.
Yeah, from
And
Florida State. Yeah,
yeah, and to me, him, Shane Lecklier should be. I think they should be getting a little more Hall of Fame consideration love. Hopefully, they'll get in our lifetime. That was the best punter kicker duo, even though the Raiders suck and they still suck. Sorry, sorry to my cousins out there.
oh, that's fine.
Um,
I hate the Raiders.
yeah, but yeah, out of those two, the best punter kicker duo. I will say the Niners had underrated one with Andy Lee and David Akers,
Oh
uh,
yeah,
late 2010s. Guy that I enjoy watching, soccer background, Brendan Aubrey for the
yeah,
Cowboys. That dude is automatic. I had him in my fantasy team. Got me like 20
nails.
points.
Yeah,
Money.
that guy's nails.
He is money. When I see him on try him on the football field, I'm like, yeah, this guy, this is good. And shout out to Eddie Pinero too, getting that payday for the Niners as well.
Yeah,
What a
awesome,
story! What a story that is.
fantastic.
Um, Favorite stadium to kick in? I got, let's see, 4 options for you. You know these stadiums pretty well. Rabobank Stadium, the Pit, SEFQ Stadium, or Villanova Stadium?
Man, there's so many factors that go into each stadium as to like why I would pick that stadium. I feel like there's no wrong answer,
There isn't. There isn't. And
but
for you,
man, I think I'd have to go SEFQ
okay.
with the one exception being if I could go back and replay the 2020 championship game in SEFQ. Because if I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken, maybe I am mistaken. Is the Mountain West Championship played on neutral ground, or is it played as a home game for the best team with the best
It,
record?
it was when we were in school, and then I think with the chaotic college football playoff, they flipped it back to like where the home team who has the best percentage. I don't know, they kind of effed it up, but
Yeah.
they play it on their school. So I can imagine, obviously, if that game during normal times was at SEFQ, that place would have been rocking immediately.
Oh man,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, but I remember broadcasting one of your games. I think it was against probably Fresno State, and you know how in the north end zone obviously faces the practice field, and you got that
Hmm.
nice, beautiful scoreboard, and then the south one basically faces South San Jose. And I would always say, okay, Mercurio trots out to the field goal, and that kick is good to Salinas, and we'll be right back on 90.5 KSJ. So that
That's
South End zone
awesome.
always holds a special place in my heart. But yeah, there's no wrong answer.
I never knew that. You know, obviously, as you can imagine, I never had a chance to listen to any of the broadcasts, and I guess that's a good thing. But yeah, man, I didn't know that. That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, it was just a little special sauce I had to add on. I think it's on my SoundCloud page from when I was a student. I know SoundCloud. What? Yeah.
I
Let's
have one too,
see.
actually.
Oh, nice. Right on, man. Music or what? Or just like podcast or
I dabbled in making music in middle
okay.
school, and I'm never gonna tell anybody the username because I don't want anybody to find it.
No, no, no,
I
no.
haven't got around to deleting it, but yeah, don't go look for it.
I'll get it. We'll have we'll have Richard Hernandez go look for it. He'll find it. He'll pull it out.
I think yeah, he might know it actually. He might know it.
All right. This is a what happens first here. So what happens first? Niners win the Super Bowl, Eagles win the Super Bowl, San Jose State makes the playoffs, college football playoff, or Villanova wins a national championship in any sport.
Hmm. Oh man, I think we see another Bird Super Bowl.
Okay.
I think we see another Bird Super Bowl, and you know, I got to be completely honest. I think I'm an Eagles fan now. It's hard to
Oh,
live here. It's hard to live here and not root for any Philly team. And I got to tell you, it is really nice to live in a place where you know they actually can win a Super Bowl. So and I can't tell you how many times how heartbroken I was seeing the Niners get there and then just not get the job done. And moving here, as you're probably well aware, Philly fans are the nicest, most down to earth people in the world. So welcoming. They're very accepting of anybody rooting for any other team other than Philly. No,
yeah.
obviously I'm joking. Yeah, it's you root for Philly or you die. And so I was like, you know what? If you can't beat them, join them. You know, I want to have a good time when I'm out watching the game. So yeah, I guess I'm a Birds fan now.
Hey, well, if you're living there full time now, then you got to take him.
Yeah.
I think let's see. The reason I say the Niners win the Super Bowl, and this is kind of a quirky fact that only I would know of, the last Super Bowl win the Niners had, which is obviously 1994, 95, right? The game was on ABC Sports. Okay.
Hmm.
This year's Super Bowl is on ABC. Niners are playing at Levi's South. Let's just be real. It's Levi's South. Okay. Rams can't fill it. Chargers can't fill it. LA Bowl, whatever, can't fill it.
It really is Niners territory. Yeah.
Come on. It's an additional home game for us. Um, I think we do the job there. Eagles got a young team still. Jalen Hurts, who I personally, respect, man. The guy had a unique college career, and then for him to get rewarded at Super Bowl 59 like that, special.
Mhm.
Love watching Devontae Smith. The defense is surreal. AJ Brown, I don't know if you like Philly
I'm
or you back
a
your bags. I don't know what.
No, I think most Philadelphia fans, most Eagles fans are kind of on the same page. Yeah, I think he should go. I'm not a
Yeah,
fan.
yeah, I don't know,
Great
man. And
player. He's
great player,
talented. He's a great player.
a guy that I respect too, and to me he's underrated because I think once again, media we don't pay attention to all facets of the game, just quarterback and whatever.
Right.
Brandon Graham, I love Brandon
Yeah,
Graham.
I knew you were going
Um,
to say that. I don't know why.
shout,
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah.
shout out Brandon Graham, man, hell of a career. I know he came back this year, but hell of a career. And also my favorite Kelsey brother, shout out Jason. He seems like a fun guy to be around.
Yeah. He's still very active
Yeah,
in and around Philadelphia and during the summer on the Jersey Shore. I've run into him just out and about in the city, and it happens. Like you'll just see him around, and he's
yeah,
awesome. He's a really
yeah.
cool guy.
And also his wife Kylie. Hey, you're killing it in the podcast
Yeah.
world, girl. Keep continue to do you. Um, Get me on the New Heights podcast as well because I saw Travis at Pebble, and I was gonna say what's up, but he had the 5 security guards. I don't want to get beat up
Yeah.
when I'm working. All right, so I figured I asked this because I know we were all kind of surprised and shocked, but obviously congrats to a heck of a career. This is it for your boy Drew Dahlman. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on him retiring? I know, like I said, he means a lot to not only you personally, but also just that Palma football brotherhood.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, I'm happy for him. I'm so happy for him. Like it's just when you know. And I totally understand whatever situation, whatever reason why. Only he knows, and it's when it's time to pack your bags or it's time to hang them up. Like I went through a similar thing with playing as many years as I did in college football. There were several years in a row where I was like, do I want to play another one? Do I want to play one more? Should I keep going? And yeah, it's every individual is a little bit different, and they're all going to choose something. They're going to choose the best route for them. And so, yeah, obviously he made a decision to hang him up, and I have so much respect for him. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, man.
So, I mean, congrats on a hell of a career.
Hell of a career, especially following in your dad, in Chris Dahlman's, Mr. Dahlman's footsteps as well. Winning a Super
Yeah,
Bowl, and for Drew to have an equally great career too. Falcons, Bears. I will share this quick story at Robert's wedding. They decided to sit. We sat at the same table. I think it was him, other brother Cam Jones,
yeah,
and Drew was on the other side. And I didn't get a chance to talk to Drew because there was like 5 million people in that at that wedding in Central Valley. And Richard got on the mic. And Richard, man, he just
yeah,
and he's like, oh, and he has the mic. I won't repeat all the speech because you had to be there to enjoy it in person.
yeah.
There's some inappropriate stuff I'll leave for the cutting room floor, but I just remember saying, "Yeah, man," and shout out to my boy Drew Dahlman. Drew, where you at? And he's like, Drew, and he plays for the Bears, and then you just hear. I've never heard so many United fans say the Bears, and Drew's face. He was laughing about it, but it just went like completely red. So it's the funny tale I have from that.
I
Besides
love that, man.
besides being there, man, like I said, you know how Richard goes, just going off the top rope there. And I like to end every interview with this question here, because I feel like any of my guest stories inspires the audience. But what should the audience learn from your story?
Oh man. I think I had such a unique path to end up where I am now, going from basically soccer for 14 years, my whole youth, elementary school, middle school, parts of high school, to being like, all right, I'll try something new, give this football thing a shot, and then being able to turn that into something that was, I guess, pretty successful. Don't be afraid to try new things. Don't be afraid to try new things. It worked out pretty well for me. And yeah, if I could go back and live it all again, I 100% would, and I wouldn't change a thing about it. So I'm glad I finally took that risk and stepped out of my comfort zone and tried football. I wish I did it earlier because it taught me so many lessons about life that I think really only the sport of football can teach you. Um, so yeah, don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. Try something new. It might be a little scary, but it's only going to make you a better person. And if it doesn't work out, you're going to be just fine.
I love it. Number 39 in the program, number one in your hearts. Matt, where can the people follow you on social media?
Oh man, you can follow me on my Instagram, which is it's just my name. Matt, yeah, Mattmercurio. There's three O. I put three O's at the end because I guess somebody else already had my name as their Instagram handle. But um, little warning: I'm not as active as I used to be, and I'm definitely not posting as much football content as I used to. But I am active on there. So yeah, please follow me if you don't already.
All right. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it, brother. And we'll link up soon, whether I go to Philly, you come back here. Proud of your success, man. And best of wishes going forward, my brother. And we'll do it again soon.
Yeah, Derrick. Seriously, I can't thank you enough for having me on. There were a few people from the Salinas, I guess, like media business that I think always were so kind and so respectful and cared so much about my career, like John Devine, Drea Blackwell, and you. And they always made a point while I was playing to like reach out and ask to do an interview or ask questions or even in like someone like Drea just like reposting my Instagram photos or my Instagram stories. Like she was so kind, and I guess just to be surrounded by people like that, it just was just another reason why I wanted to be so successful. Like just having all those people around me, like it meant so much to me. And so thank you, and thank you to all those other people that I mentioned. But yeah, seriously, thank you so much for having on, and thank you for taking such an interest in my journey and my career. It really means a lot.
Hey, man, anybody from the 8 through 1, we always got to support each other. And to be in that same conversation with Drea and John Devine, YouTube, you got to pay me that money. Come on now. Come on, Spotify, YouTube. Pay me that money if I'm including that conversation. All right. We'll be back to wrap things up on the Chronicles for the Upper Deck podcast.
Awesome.
Welcome back to the Chronicles from the Upper Deck podcast. My thanks goes out to Matt Mercurio. You can follow him on Instagram at Matt Mercurio. He's doing a wonderful, amazing job in the medical field working for Siemens Healthineers. So check him out if you need any assistance with any of Siemens's products. And yeah, it's just awesome to just hear those kind words from him. I think as a journalist, you just value building relationships and you value um, just building building trust. And so I'm glad I have that. It doesn't help that I got my brothers Richard, Robert, and Francisco that know him, and we kind of have mutual friends. But it's an amazing feeling. It's a small world. It's a small town. Salinas is only like what 150, 160,000, but it's a small town, so you feel like you know everybody. I do like to end on this and just give my thoughts on it. The Olympic Committee announced that are banning trans athletes from women's events. It's going to start in 2 years at the 2028 Summer Olympic Games in Los Angeles. Where do we go from here? Um, and this is from the new IOC president, Christy Coventry, in a video statement. She said, "At the Olympic Games, even the smallest of margins can be the difference between victory and defeat. So it is absolutely clear that it would not be fair for biological males to compete in the female category." Now, of course, this controversy stirred up from who, the president of the United States, and we've seen, the couple that we've seen transgender athletes compete at the Olympics. We saw Laura Hubbard become the first openly transgender woman to compete 2021 Tokyo Olympics, though no woman who transitioned after being assigned male at birth has known to ever participate in the Olympics since. There was controversy in Paris when multiple conservative politicians, commentators called into question the sexes of two female boxers who were disqualified from the World Championships after failing eligibility tests. One of them was cleared for competition after approval, while the other was completely identified herself as a cisgender woman. She's currently challenging the World Boxing Testing requirement in court. And Amin Khalif ended up winning gold at the Paris Olympics. But I think we are in a society that, okay, we need to ban, transgender athletes. But what are you going to do with them? What are you going to do with them? And I think we just feel like we need to put a band-aid over this situation instead of just like finding a reasonable solution, if that makes sense. Um, and a reasonable solution being how can we, you know, make sure that they're not competing against males per se, but at the same time not just like, hey, forget you, you guys are nothing, because you're devaluing them as humans. And I know you know, the IOC might go through, it says eligibility for the female category will be determined by a gene screening, but the screening will involve swabbing a person's cheek or drawing blood to look for the presence of the SRY gene, which stands for sex determining region Y, associated with the sexual development typical of males. But to me, there's so many just issues around that, and I think there's just so many more questions because I think a lot of, you could get athletes that test false positive for this, um, you know, and it's just still so up in the air. Um, but I think, you know, how many athletes are you gonna test? You gotta test every single athlete and then not get the tests back in a quickly manner. And then if they're competing in LA, are you gonna ban them when they're midway through the competition? So I think it's just something that needs to be answered. It needs to be answered because I think we are just in a society where we've we're obsessing over how people look, how they identify. And it's just like, when do we get to that point? When did we get to that point of just like, okay, we need to, you know, identify with them and we need to obsess over, hey, can they play? Can they not play? Um, an Olympian from Aptos, Nikki Hiltz, I'm sorry. She commented on it and she went off on them, you know, in a social media post. Now, Nikki is an Olympian from Aptos. She runs in the 1500 and mile, 1500 meters a mile. Um, she's won silver medal at the World Indoor Track Championships in Glasgow, and then just won a bronze at the Turin, World Indoor Championships. And here's what she had to say on her social media. I'm just going to read this to you as I'm trying to pull it up. All Olympic athletes competing in women's sports are now required to go genetic sex testing. Attacks on trans people consistently led to more policing and regulation of all women's bodies. Everyone's hurt by transphobia. Y'all already know where I stand on this, but this policy is so effing stupid and it's not solving a problem that exists. I don't know who needs to hear that, but zero trans women competed at the Paris Olympics, which I just mentioned. Only one trans woman weightlifter competed in Tokyo 2021. She did not win a medal. Can we please stop obsessing over trans people and maybe focus our time, energy, resources, and into real problems that women face? And Hiltz came out as transgender and non-binary on March 21st, 2021. Um, and I kind of agree with that sentiment too. It's just like, okay, um, you know, we are focusing on one specific group. We are targeting one specific group without, having an actual solution. We just put a band-aid over it. And that's going from the federal level to college sports. And then this still is not over. It's still a discussion that we'll keep going. And like I said, it's just like, why did you talk to any of these advocacy groups, or did you just make up this decision because peer pressure? And what I mean by peer pressure, I mean is the President of the United States. So it's not going to go away. And to our trans community, we stand with you. We stand by you, and we will always got you. We always got your guys' back. Um, and I just hope, like I said, there's just some sort of resolution in this because, okay, you ban them, now what? And I think everybody's afraid to answer now what part of that question. But thank you for watching and listening to the Chronicles from the Upper Deck podcast. We will be back definitely for sure for the Masters week. We got Birdies and Banter. We will be doing a couple of episodes of my boy Patrick Abadilla, who I went to the NCAA tournament with. So shout out to you, P-Abs. It was an electric atmosphere. And we might do a episode maybe on Thursday night, just previewing the Final Four and giving my picks out. And then we also will are planning to have at least one to two more guests in the following week. So stay tuned for updates on our social media for that. But you can now leave this audio and visual wonderland of mine known as the Chronicles from the Upper Deck podcast. Please continue to spread the love.